So fun fact, a friend of mine actually brought this up to me a few weeks ago and asked me like, hey, are you paying attention to the Clara Dow? Chat says Dow controversy. And I was like, no, who's Clara? And this is Clara. So Clara is a content creator who on the left looks like this. And then now on the right looks like that. So, you know, she got her chest done. She's gotten some surgeries. This was her originally on YouTube. And she was kind of like, you know, body positive, you know, work on your self-esteem, very optimistic content creator. She was, you know, uplifting for a lot of people. I think she made a lot of people feel good about not being, and I'm going to use this word, pretty, even though I think, you know, we're all pretty. And that's the thing when we talk about beauty standards or physical aesthetic. I first and foremost think everyone is beautiful. And if you're playing into a construct that has a standard of beauty, then that's a different conversation. But know that default, everyone is beautiful, right? You know, the soul of a person is beautiful. The spirit of a person is beautiful. And these physical bodies aren't even who you are. But if you're going to decorate your physical body, much like a car or a boat, to fit the standard of your bubble, love that, right? Maybe you're goth, maybe you're prep, maybe you're whatever. That's okay. Then you're judged on the construct of the bubble. So Claire showed up on the internet and she built this great audience and recently got her breasts done. And people were very upset, like emotionally distraught over it because they felt like you were the reason I loved myself. Your content made me finally, you know, accept my body for what it looked like. Pause. This is why I say the work I am trying to do on this channel is to make you understand nobody can make you love yourself. That is a relationship with self, introspection, extrospection. This is why I say, and this is the trap of being a content creator or being a person that people look up to, is God forbid you change. God forbid you have a different relationship with self. God forbid you decide, right, to utilize the money you've made to enhance or have a different relationship with how you show up in the world, right? Without it feeling like it's coming at the expense of everybody else because your audience relied on you to maintain their mental health. And I think about this with myself. We talk a lot about looks here. We talk a lot about aesthetic, right? A lot of people come onto my channel and try to be mean to me and say like, oh my God, you're so pretty, but that nose, or oh my God, like your facial structure. And look, I don't need you to tell me that I'm pretty or not pretty. Like I'm very comfortable with what I look like after a long journey of deconstruction. But I also don't want to be held to some sort of standard that says I can't get plastic surgery if I want to. Because I don't like this narrative that I'm not allowed to do anything to my body because I feel like it. Hello, I dyed my hair yesterday. What, am I not allowed to dye my hair? And I know a lot of people are like, dyeing your hair, getting plastic surgery is different. Not to a lot of us. Not to a lot of people. Like to some people, to many people, but not all of us. For me, if you get a piercing, if you get a tattoo, if you get, you know, prosthetics, if you get what, I don't know, girls. To me, it's just about decorating the boat. Okay. So for me, it's not that different, but for a lot of people, it can feel that different. And I think that is because the constructs burden us with this idea that we can't love ourselves if we want to change ourselves. But if you love yourself, you will change for the better. If you love yourself, you will absolutely change for the better. The question is, for the better, what does that look like for you? And this is my recommendation. Change has to coincide with your joy. And your joy is not happiness. Happiness is an emotion. You know, we're happy every day, but not all day or every day. You know, happiness is a joy. It comes and goes like sadness. Joy is contentment with the fact that your relationship with you is content. And so that way, when you get things done, right, it's to coincide with that joy. It's to make sense for how you're showing up in the world as yourself. And I just want people to know you're allowed to do that, right? You're allowed to change the way you look in the same way you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind. How many people don't change their mind because they don't want to come off wishy-washy? Change your mind, girl. Let's go. Change that mind. Change that body. I don't care. Just make sure it's for the right reason. So, you know, people were mad at her. People were like, wow, you really, you know, you used to be this girl and now you're this girl. And it's like, what the heck? But you also know that other saying, don't you? You're not ugly. You're just poor. The truth is that if we had, all the money in the world, some people would get plastic surgery and regret it. And some of us would get stuff done and absolutely love it and benefit from it, because pretty privilege is a thing. And so here's the problem. And here's what I want you to do. I'm going to bring out my paint. Let me bring out my paint. Okay, this is how I want you to look at it. This is how I look at it personally. Okay, this is personal. So I look at me, and then I look at, I look at me in relation to self and me in relation to the world. Maybe another way to actually do this is the me. How should I do this? Hold on. This is the world. How should I do this actually? Okay, this is the bubble that I'm socializing in. Here's the me that has to socialize with that bubble. Here's the me that doesn't socialize with the bubble. Okay? And I am both Britneys. I am this Britney, okay? And I'm this Britney. When I'm at home, I'm this Britney. When I'm in public or at work, I'm this Britney. When I'm being perceived, this is my extrospection. When I'm introspecting, this is it, me. Okay, so the way I want you to think about this, and I think this is hard, but here, I'll just explain how I think about it, and you guys we can talk about it. When I do anything to my body, I ask myself, is this for this Britney or is it for this Britney? And if it's for this Britney, it's strategy. If it's for this Britney, it's for fun. I don't know how to say it. It's kind of like for funsies almost. Like if I eat a salad and I get no onions, that's for this world. That's for the people I'm talking to. If I'm at home and I make a salad, I'm putting onions in it because I don't care if my breath stank at home. Do you know what I mean? Same thing with how I show up in the world. If I walk naked in my house because I don't put on clothes at home, I'm still not going to walk naked in public because it doesn't just involve me. Okay? So I think sometimes what we do in life is we can't figure out who am I doing it for? Which version of ourselves? And it's true that if you do too much of your life for this version versus this version, you will be miserable. Okay? So think about it this way. Think about it this way. This is like a little, Okay. So you want to do most of why you do stuff for yourself, and you want to make sure you're still doing enough for the outside world. Okay. So you want to do just enough for the outside world because you're a participant in society, and you want to do most of the stuff, the reason you do stuff for yourself. Okay. But if you have it, so it's like reverse, and you're only doing this much for yourself and this much for the world, well, I guess it'd be like this much. Okay. That's not going to be good. Like, that's just not going to vibe. Like, it's just not going to vibe. For me, I find it. Now, some people do it this way. Okay. Like half. I'm not happy that way. I'm pretty miserable, actually. So I'm very careful that I do this much for the world and this much for me. Now, for a different version of myself, maybe it will change. But I'm not at that place yet where it's like even. I do most of what I do for me. Okay? Because I get the feedback from the world. The world tells me all the times, I mean, in all the ways it would like me to change, so it will like me more. And in some of those ways, I've changed so I could better socialize with the world. And in some ways, I haven't changed because it doesn't quite, I can't do it without making myself feel miserable. Like I'm destroying myself in order to do it. Right? So I do what's absolutely necessary to function within the world in a way that makes sense. You know, I was in town yesterday for a government appointment, and the fashion was on bleak, as us millennials would say. It was so good. The fashion in Croatia sometimes blows my brain. It's so good. And the women were just stunning. And I kept thinking to myself, like, when I have money that I've responsibly saved in order to spend on clothing, I will 100% enhance my wardrobe. I will 100% enhance my aesthetic. One, because it looks so good. And two, it's how I would like to decorate my boat and show up in the world, right? But right now, I don't have the income. Right now, I do the best with what I have because ultimately I'm being responsible with my money. I live within my means. For as long as I want to live within my means, I cannot have the wardrobe I want overnight. It has to come piece by piece, little by little, years in the making, which is why I really admire those like old ladies I showed you on stream the other day. Oh, I love them. Where they're just like, good wardrobes are made over 40 years. They're not made overnight. And I believe this. And I want to be eccentric. I want to be like an eccentric old lady, right? But I do not want to fall for trends. I don't want to fall for trends, whether it's fashion or plastic surgery, right? So when we look at Clara today, I want you to help me make sure I'm understanding it correctly and examine Clara as both a person who didn't have the means to do what she wanted before, but once she made the money on her journey of self-acceptance and made that money, now she could do what she wanted. Money just gives us an opportunity to be who we are. And the truth is like, you don't know who you are until you have money, except when you do. And this is where I think I am in my life. I might not have a lot of money, enough to bring it all together and as fast as I'd like. But I know that when I have money, I'm telling you right now, I know exactly what I'm getting done. I know exactly what wardrobe I'm having. I know exactly what the house is going to look like. Like I know exactly the vibe I'm going for. I just don't have the money yet. But that's because I'm a slow but steady kind of girly. You know what I'm saying? So you have to remember that you're judging this girl. And I don't know anything about Clara, but I'm assuming everybody was judging this girl. Hold on, I want to bring it back to, let me see. Okay, I'm assuming everybody is judging this girl here on the left because she also was on a journey to figure herself out. But you forgot that the girl on the right was the girl who had the money to do what she actually wanted. And nobody liked that girl. But maybe you only liked the other girl because you felt like, and I'm going to say this very nicely, but meanly, sometimes I think you guys like girls that are, quote, ugly, are non-conventional, so you can feel good about yourselves and never do anything about it. But that's not what real joy is. You shouldn't need a content creator to feel good about yourself. But it's cool to see content creators represent how you feel about your own body in the world. Okay? So again, I don't like the way people are attacking her because at the end of the day, she did the best she could with what she had. And then when she had money, she wanted to be a different version, and that's okay. Like you got to get over it. So I just want to show you some of her old content. So this is the oldest content, goes back 6 years ago, and everything is about being skinny and flat chested and what do you do when you have no boobs, working out. And yeah, I have a flat butt. Yeah, this was her body. This was her struggle. This was real. And now that she has boobs, you're acting like none of this was real. She had the body. She lived through it. Yeah, she lived through it. So you can't take that away from her lived experience. She did live this life. So I want to show you this video here just for a second. This is how I became confident. Listen, I know y'all are on Google or on YouTube looking for YouTubers that figured it out so you can figure out how to love yourselves.
I was never
and as somebody who feels like she loves herself, it's a journey. And it's very much about deconstruction. And it's about being honest about what you do want done. I just think this narrative, Emma Stone was recently on the red carpet and everyone's like, I can't believe she got her face done. Why did she get her face done? Mind your business. Have an opinion, but at the end of the day, she is 36 years old and she can get a facelift if she wants a facelift. Okay? I say this as somebody who sees good facelifts every day and is like, I might get one of those. And if you feel like you have the right to judge somebody for plastic surgery, you would ask yourself why. I do not think it is immoral to get plastic surgery done. Okay? I think it might not be what makes you happy, or joyful, but you're not a bad person because you got a nose job. The way we are acting like these are bad people because I got a nose job, I'm so annoyed with you. Please. There are like serious issues in the world right now. I'm not concerned with your rhinoplasty. Okay? Check this video out.
Confident kid when I grew up. I think a lot of it has to do with how I was raised in a Southeast Asian family. As a kid, I wasn't the most sociable or extroverted. I think a big pattern throughout my childhood and my adult life is I put my self-worth in other people's hands. Like what they think about my appearance, what they think about my personality, what they think of me as a person. And that leads to a lot of time I change myself to conform to those standards that people put on me. Confidence is such a big thing, and in this video I don't want to talk about confidence with regards to only body image or how you look or your appearance. I want to talk about confidence from a general and holistic point of view that cover everything about you as a person. How I build true confidence in myself. When I was in school, I deeply wanted to get validation and recognition from other people. Actually, in middle school and high school, I felt like no guys were noticing me or liking me. It was a time that everyone in my class or in the school was starting to pair up high school sweethearts or high school relationships, right? And I felt like I was completely left out in that scene. And I think that somehow it became a point of insecurity for me. It became something that made me crave love, recognition, and validation from other people even more. Especially during that time, a lot of my friends made fun of my flat chest, made fun of my underbite, and I think that was the point that my confidence was at one of its lowest. I just want to say that when you don't feel confident, it usually goes a lot deeper than that. It's not just about your appearance that you don't like, or it's not just about a certain aspect of yourself that you don't like. I honestly, personally think that the reason why you don't feel confident or you don't have a high self-esteem, and I'm speaking from experience here, is that you have a void inside you that needs love and validation. We all do. It's like a reservoir that we need to fill. And I think that a lot of times we think that the only way to get the love and validation we need is from external sources, is from other people. I mean, of course, it feels great to hear someone complimenting us or getting a lot of likes on a picture or video you post on social media, but that is temporary and that is out of your control. Of course, external validation can help, but you cannot get the true and lasting confidence with just that. Maybe you know someone or you heard about someone who...
Okay, so this was her 3 years ago. And so now you're going to see her now, and the video is called The Reason I Changed, and it's commenting on all these controversial TikToks that are like, Claire has changed, she's the worst person, she lied to her audience, she scammed us, she made money off of being confident and then ended up getting plastic surgery, she's a liar. Do y'all hear yourselves? Like, do you hear yourself? You know what I mean? Like, again, I don't even know this lady, but I'm just saying there's no way your attitude is the right answer. I refuse to engage with this idea. I don't even care if she did scam you. Why were you watching the content in the first place? Because you were trying to fill something inside of yourself, and then you objectified this woman and made anything she did with her life about you. Absolutely not, kids, okay? So let's watch her talk about it now. This is very present day. Okay, this was filmed a few months ago. And you tell me what you think. Okay, tell me what you think. Here we go.
Florida.
Whoa, my bad, boys. Sorry, ladies. That was loud as F. Give me a second.
Florida.
Yo, that's so loud. Is that okay on your ears?
How a once adored YouTuber became the plot twist no one saw coming.
They really probably aren't who they pretend to be.
Our content might not be as positive as it seems.
Okay, let's do this. I've been wanting to make this video for like the longest time now. Just to give you an update on like everything. I feel like a lot have changed over the past month or since February. I know there's a lot of things going on. First, it was the controversy about the video that I made 6 months, 7 months ago, talking about my eating habits. And I only eat when I'm like really hungry. And I think another big thing is the fact that I had a boob job. Yes, I did have a boob job. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of comments and messages and DMs and emails from you guys asking me if I'm okay, asking me why did I change so much, like why did I move, you know, just seem to become a different person. Let's talk about all about that in this video. I of course still want to make a separate.
And I also just want to say, living in the world that we live in, and look, as a content creator, I know, and I know it from, you know, regardless, like there's a part of you that has to know, like, we're just people, and people, I bring this up often, but I want to say it in a way that, like, I really wanted to get into your brains so you can forgive and accept the world for what it is. And forgive yourself for thinking about it yourself. The human beings are just like, we're kind of shallow, you know, and we're shallow in a way that doesn't necessarily make us bad, but it takes a lot of deconstruction to not view the world through a shallow lens. Like an incredibly insane amount of time has to go by and self-discovery to be able to just view a person. And I was thinking about this the other day because I was at a bus stop and there was a gentleman there, and I was like autistic and probably high support needs. And I was looking at him and he had very unkept, mismatched clothes, awkward stance, kind of looked, and this is how I know society is viewing him, intimidating, kind of predatory, because he looked kind of very tall and very big. And I kept thinking, I wonder how many people are thinking he's a bad man because of the way he looks, which is why if you're in that position, and why, it's really difficult for autistic or disabled people, ADHD people, to do a lot of hygienic work. I recommend you do it for even your own safety, because grooming for some reason makes people think you're a better person. And that's the problem. It's like, when we talk about our safety, we have to make sure we understand that there's something in our brains that makes people, we're working on it. We're talking about these biases. Like, as parents, you gotta get your kids in some way to be like, to do hygienic work. I know it's so hard, but I hate to say it this way because it doesn't justify the harm that comes to your kids or to the world. But like, human beings are animals on a planet. We are animals on a planet, and animals are violent. And sometimes it doesn't matter how well groomed you are, you could be targeted. But it is one of those things that for some reason, people just are not kind. And so if you keep expecting the world to be kind, I think there's going to be a confusion here, right? And again, I want to say this as a survival perspective, certainly not as a living perspective. Because from a living perspective, what do I care if your clothes don't match? What do I care if the president came to work in sweatpants as long as they got their job done? But at the end of the day, the reason we talk about professionalism, separate from white supremacy and all that bullshit, is because we as an animal species do think badly of people. Even the most ascended thinker has that biological bias in their brain that would be convinced he'd be a bad president or she'd be a bad president if they came to work in lingerie. Because a part of what you're signaling is an inability to read the room. And an inability to read the room is very scary because now you're unpredictable. So it's not just about the bias of like needing to show up to look, quote, professional. It's sending a signal to our brains that like, hey, you're not reading the room. Like, showing up to church in your lingerie makes me feel like you might be drunk or on drugs or confused or dangerous because it's so outside the norm of expectation. So I want you just to think about it from that perspective and then understand how to show up in the world in a way that it doesn't come at the expense of your joy, that allows you to move in the world without sort of having to fight that prejudice every 2 seconds because people aren't willing to deconstruct, right? Let's see. Chess says, what do you think about the phrase, how you do one thing is how you do everything? I disagree. Like, I disagree, but I agree. It depends on the context, right? Chet says, somebody would say, like, do you even comb your hair? Derogatory. And I would just engage with the question earnestly. Chet says, going to school in my underwear is my reoccurring nightmare. Very, very common nightmare, let me tell you. Discord said there's also subconscious that has an internal message. Dressing well is similar to brushing your teeth. And even brushing your teeth, like, naturally our teeth are yellow. But because culture started whitening their teeth to show to separate themselves from like the poor, the problem with that is like it sets a default precedent that we must have white teeth. So people go overboard with it, or they get surgery, or they do all these things. But even if you go overboard with whitening your teeth, now you're seen again as like icky. So it's actually weird that even with whitening our teeth, keeping it white, you know what I mean? Like, that's a sign of like, oh my God, you're gross, even though white teeth are not a sign of cleanliness. But in society it is. It's a signal of cleanliness, but it's not actually related to hygiene. Isn't that interesting? Like, you know what I mean? But I think that's the problem, is like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day if the world is gonna, without deconstructing, subconsciously judge you and not give you a job for it. Like, a part of me is like, look, if the difference between me getting a job or not getting a job is how white my teeth are, like, I'll whiten my teeth somehow. You know what I mean? But at the same time, why do I even have to do this? Because the world doesn't revolve around you. It revolves around 8 billion people that are still busy deconstructing whether or not curly hair is unprofessional. You know what I mean? So from a personal perspective, when you're deciding who to be, this is why I say make a bubble in your own home that's sacred to you. So you can come home and not worry about all that goddamn fucking ritual that we all have to do in the world. But know that we do that in the world because we're dealing with a bunch of people who are traumatized, who aren't deconstructing, who aren't doing the work, and they're going to judge you. Not because that's perfect, not because I'm telling you to settle, but because I'm telling you to radically accept how the world is so you can learn how to function within it and so you can actually make the change you want to see in the world. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and move back to Clara.
Video about my group job, but in this video I just want to address all the controversies, want to talk to you like a friend, because I don't know how long you've been following me on social media, but you've probably seen all my old videos are still there. You can see how I was in the past and the type of content I made in the past. So first, let's talk about the controversy that a lot of other YouTubers or drama channels has made content about. It's all come from this video which I posted a while ago, talking about my habits, the habits that make me skinny. Being skinny or thin is not really a goal, it's not really the end goal. The end goal is to be healthy. If I can be honest with you, is that before I made that video, I already knew that people would criticize me for it. They will not like it. And why?
Pause. Discord says grooming among animals is so normal and common. When an animal stops grooming, it's usually because something is wrong, like when cats stop grooming if they get too sick or old. Actually, that's a really great point. That's a great point. I worry about the day that Indiana Jones will stop grooming herself. She's such a clean girly. She's such a little groomer. But sometimes she'll wake up all frazzled dazzled and I'm like, girl, have you groomed today? But like, that's true. We are little animals on a planet and we groom each other. Like animals groom each other. Like grooming is such a part of the animal kingdom. I don't know how many videos I've seen of animals grooming each other or just like it's for your health. And so again, we are animals. And again, I'm not, yeah, Chad says grooming is an efficiency thing first over aesthetic. And that's the thing too, is like, it's not just about aesthetic and showing up in the world to get approval. It is also related to health. It's related to a lot of things. So I just want to give you guys all of the options because I know as I've gotten older and I've, always had those conversations with myself, like, are you doing this for you or for somebody else? That's a really difficult question because, in some ways we're taught never to do anything for anyone else. But the truth is that we're also taught not to do things just for yourself. It's like, please pick and choose, guys. And it's both. You do some things for other people, you do some things for yourself, but ultimately it should coincide with your values.
Did I do it? Yes, I did get a lot of requests to make that video. Like I could choose not to make that video, but I did choose to make that video. And I think this video is gonna be long because I just want to tell you everything, tell you all about my thought process. I know that video has offended a lot of people. I understand that, especially if you're struggling with eating, with your relationship with food.
I'm a little annoyed that there's music in this video because, I'm autistic and I think music is a form of manipulation, but I hope she doesn't have it this whole video, but it is exactly what people in her audience probably love because people usually love music in videos because it does tell them how to feel and it moves them. It's why it's great in anime and great in movies. Like it is a tactic to tell the audience what you're supposed to be feeling right now, which is why I don't like it in YouTube videos, but then people love it in video essays because it makes the video essay look more professional. It's a whole thing.
Not a good video to watch, and with the fact that I am in the body positivity niche, or I like to say that I'm used to, because I feel like in my head there's just so many things I want to tell you, but I just don't know what to start with. Okay, let's start with the fact that for a long time, I feel like body positivity is not my passion anymore. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I had my channel for 6 years. During those 6 years, I've been just making body positivity videos. I've been making self-love, self-care, body positivity, and especially videos about my flat chest and feeling confident with a flat chest and with a skinny body. I still believe and I deeply resonate with the message of body positivity, the core message of body positivity, which is everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves to feel love towards themselves and feel confident about their body no matter what their body looks like. And I still truly fully believe in that, and that's still one of my core values. So think about it. If you've been doing the same thing for 6 years, I've made over 950 videos about the same topic essentially, and I started my YouTube channel when I was 20, when I was really young. I have grown up and become an adult with the internet, with the type of content that I create. And at any point in my whole creator journey, I was very truthful and very...
I agree. Chad says it's the volume of the music. It is. The volume of the music is so loud. And this is somebody with 5 million subscribers. Like, fuck. how do people with huge channels not know how to edit sound? I never get it. I don't get how people with big channels cannot get the sound correct. It drives me crazy.
Real with you guys, and say especially in the first like 4 or 5 years or so, I really put my heart and soul into this cause. I really believe in what I did, you know, and like I said, I still believe in it now. It's just that over time, as I do a lot of the same content day after day, weeks after weeks, year after years, I get bored. Not that I get tired of it, because like I said, I believe in it, and I wholeheartedly think that everyone is equally beautiful and we all have our own essence and our own unique beauty, and that is something to celebrate. It's just that when the only thing that you talk about and the only thing that you make content about is that, which was what I did, over time people change and I've changed. I feel like once I turned 25, it's like, you know those scientists that said that once you turn 25, it's kind of like your brain have essentially kind of finished growing, like your prefrontal cortex. Of course you can change after that, but essentially like your core version or like the core of who you are is like kind of set once you turn 25. And I feel like it applies to me because when I turned 25,
Also, I think people have to remember, and I think what she just said is so smart, that like we do change, and she literally grew up on the internet. So the fact that her audience claimed to care about her, but then they're mad at her for changing, y'all are ruthless for no reason. But also, boob jobs are temporary. I don't know why, do people think they're permanent? Tell me, okay, show of hands, who here does not know that boob jobs are temporary? It's not like a nose job. It's literally temporary. They are not permanent decisions. They are temporary decisions. So, you know, that's the thing. Okay. Okay, keep that in mind, right? So, and also, you know, one of the reasons I didn't get a boob job was because my boobs are perfect. But also, it's because I was worried about the mental health repercussions, because some of the breast jobs can have leakage, and the leakage can cause a lot of hormonal changes and mental health struggles in people, right? So I looked into it. I was like interested in it. I was like, is this what I want to do? And then I was like, nah. And I also looked into nose jobs. I've looked into everything. I've looked into liposuction for my arms. After I learned that girls were getting liposuctioned in their arms, I was like, oh my God. And then I learned that. And then I was like, okay, what am I interested in? And I think that's the thing. I'm a curious girly. I want to know what everyone's doing. I looked into teeth. I looked into, you know, everything, because I'm like, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? Right? So, okay. Right? Like boob jobs are not meant to be, you have to get them replaced. Like that's why you check in with your doctors. You get them taken out. You cannot keep the same implant in your breast. You have to get them, you know, redone basically. And then you have to make a decision if that's what you even want to do. That's why I'm surprised that people are so interested in boob jobs. They seem like too much work. But a nose job, something else, facelift, you know, you get a good facelift done in your 40s, call it a day. Like, okay. Anyways, the point is, you should enjoy looking into things. You should enjoy experimenting. You should enjoy it. Be safe, be sane, do it consensually, right? But decide if it's for you or for other people, you know? Okay.
what I care about is no longer body positivity anymore. And like I said, I feel like I am like a broken record by this time by saying that I still believe in it. Like I believe that everyone is beautiful, okay? Like I believe that every body type is beautiful. Like it's not just like skinny body or like normal weight body. Like I have no problem, okay?
But let's be real, her skinny content did as well as it did because people have an obsession with being skinny, right? And a big part of it is because like it stands out in a particular way. Like something about being skinny. I mean, obviously there's like a whole cultural aspect to this, but like people loved her skinny content for a reason. And look, skinny is back in. Khadijah just talked about this. There's like an obsession with being skinny again. And you have to deconstruct that for yourself. But you're not wrong for being an animal who has a thought around like, I wish I looked different. I think that's like pretty normal to say, I wish I looked different. Why do you think men spend so much time in the gyms getting their physique figured out? You think they're doing that without saying, I wish I looked different? Every time you work out, every time you go to the gym, you're changing the way you look. And that's why body dysmorphia is so intense in gym culture. So again, this whole conversation about plastic surgery, not plastic surgery, look, you can put your own value system on whether or not it's quote earned or bought for or anything else, but it's all kind of the same to me. It's about gender affirming care in the end, isn't it, girlies?
I have no problem with he was weak or like, you know, I think everyone is equal. That's been my focus for 6 years. And once I turn 25, you know what? Like suddenly I feel like I want to focus on different things, like from my heart, like from my higher self. Suddenly I'm just gravitated towards different things. Like I'm more gravitated toward fashion and beauty. I'm more gravitated towards self-improvement and self-development. When I first started out, my whole mission was to make content for my 16-year-old self and for every girl who used to feel insecure like I did. I was incredibly insecure back when I was 16. When I was 20 and started out my channel, I'm like, that's the only thing I want to do. That was my mission. That was what I was put on earth for. And I'm just gonna do that. I did exactly that. I really focused and just made content about that and made it my niche. And I became the face of the flat chest confidence of the body positivity community. Body positivity and my content has really brought me to.
I think shallow body positivity doesn't allow for the full context of the human experience, right? I think body positivity is only real, like sex positivity, if you're not judging people for their bodies. But if you judge people for their bodies, you're not body positive. If you judge people for the way they engage in sex, not assuming it's consensual and everything, that's not sex positive. Like if you're judging people because they have sex, that's not sex positivity. If you're judging people because they work out or don't work out or they're fat or not fat, that's not sex positivity. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, when I say I'm sex positive, body positive, it means I'm never going to judge you because of your body or because of how much sex you have. Like I'm not going to judge you for those things. Now, Discord said, now that we're talking about more about hygiene than how one dresses, right? I try not to judge how people dress in most contexts. I think I'm not judging you for either. I'm trying to come to a conclusion and discern what you're trying to signal to me based off your hygiene and what you're wearing. So if you're wearing, I don't know, a white nationalist t-shirt, I'm gonna fucking judge you. If you're showing up to an event like, 7 days of not showering, grease streaming down your forehead, like we have to talk. Like, what are you doing here? Why is your hair so, what are we doing? Like then I'm going to discern like what am I supposed to be engaging with here, and I'm going to judge you, but not like to put you into the right category to know how to interact with you, right? But I'm not here to judge, oh, you're goth. Like I don't give a fuck if you're goth. Like I don't give a fuck if you're preppy. I don't give a fuck if you dress slutty. I don't give a fuck if you dress modest. I don't give a fuck about any of that. But if what you're wearing signals something like a bad message, I'm going to judge you. If you're showing up to a scene where you smell so bad, people want to gag when they're around you, we're having a conversation. Without judging you, why didn't you shower before you came here? What's going on? But if you double down, you're like, I don't smell bad. You're a bitch. I can't believe you're calling me out on this. I smell fine. Well, you can get out of my store. You can get out of my group. You can get out, right? Okay. Chat says, I don't like the implication that a boob job is self-improvement, to be honest, but like I'm slightly sensitive to it as a member of the itty bitty titty community. I don't think we get to decide what's self-improvement for individuals. I think that's the point. We don't get to decide what is self-improvement for people from their lens. You can have an opinion about it. You can say, for myself, this is how I'd feel. You can say, I don't believe her. I think she's still insecure. You can give an opinion. But I don't think we get to say every single person who gets a boob job is actually insecure and they hate themselves, or every person who gets plastic surgery will regret it, or I just am pretty neutral about it personally. Like, I don't think it tells me enough. Like, I don't think the surgery itself is bad. I don't think getting a face tattoo is necessarily an indication of something bad, right? It just depends on the context and why. I just come from a bubble that says like, if you have tattoos, something's wrong with you. And I'm like, girl, please. And even that bubble's loosened up, where they're like, okay, it's not that big of a deal to have a tattoo, right? So for me, tattoos and boob jobs, very similar. Very similar. Okay. Chet says, bro, I have a stinky friend who refuses to wear deodorant because of aluminum, and her BO sticks to my car if we go on a long drive. Love her, but she holds herself back with it. Girl, she cannot sit in my car. You can't come in my car. That's what I would do. I'm serious. I love you. You're not sitting in my car with me. Figure it out. There are natural deodorants. There are so many like ways to make sure you get your BO under control. You're not sitting in my car. I am so sensitive to smells. And I know this growing up with 8 brothers. If any of my brothers got into a car with me and they smelled, I'd be like, get the fuck out. You're not sitting in my car with me. Hell, I married somebody. And when our breath smells or our BO smells, I'm like, baby, no. Baby, no. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, uh-oh. And we'll be like, our breath is stale. Let's go brush our teeth. Like, no. You can't sit in my car with me. Like, that's what with peace and love, okay? And if, there are so many kinds of deodorants, you got to find one that works for you, but absolutely not, okay? Absolutely not. And again, this happens in schools. You know how many kids in school were bullied because their BO smelled and their parents weren't helping them with it? You smell. It's hard to be around you. Okay, chances some people do have stronger BO than others. Oh, definitely. Everybody has different everythings, right? Everybody has different everythings. But yeah, I want to be neutral when engaging with people and then figure out how I'm supposed to judge them. Like, I don't want to judge you because of how you groom necessarily, but I might have to based off of the grooming. I don't want to judge you by what you're dressing necessarily, but I might have to depending on what it is. You know what I mean? I don't want to judge you on how you talk until I maybe have to. I think that's what I want us to get to is like, I don't want to judge you for just getting a boob job. Why'd you get a boob job? Like, I'm not trying to judge you because you're like having sex with somebody I don't like, but also like, why are you having sex with somebody? You know what I mean? Like why this person? It's like, I don't want to judge you, but also I reserve the right to be concerned. I reserve the right to be concerned. Okay. Back to the video.
Where I am today, where I am so confident, where I have everything I ever wanted, when I'm living my dream life day in and day out. Like, it literally has allowed me to have this life and have you here supporting me. Like, I'm so grateful. And like I said, it was my heart and soul for the longest time. And it's just natural that as we grow older, right? I'm 26 now. I have different priorities. I have different interests. And I want to talk about other things. I want to have fun. I want to change my identity. I feel like
I think also I grew up with women in my life who like to brag. They're like, I don't dye my hair. I don't wear makeup. I don't have to do the things other women do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not into that energy. I'm not really into the energy of like, I think I'm better because I don't have plastic surgery. I actually think I'm better than you because like, I don't wear makeup. It's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that attitude. I'll be so for real. Thinking you're better than other people because like, you know what I mean? But I can see that there are also some of them, it's their form of rebellion because they don't want to be consumed with always having to be pretty and trendy. So I can in some way be very supportive of their desire not to fall for beauty trends, but also I don't think that needs to come at the expense of people who do enjoy beauty trends.
I'm a person who loves transformation and who love change, physical change. That's why I'm like going through multiple different hair colors. It's not that like I'm like mentally unstable or anything. It's just that I'm just the type of person that enjoy shifting my avatar, shifting my appearance for the fun of it. I feel like not many people can understand and resonate or like really.
Well, yeah, that's true too. A lot of people can't relate or resonate to even the avatar talk, saying I want to change my avatar. I want to show up differently. Like, I think that's really hard for people to process because, again, in some bubbles, staying the same is a sign of growth. In other bubbles, changing is a sign of growth. And then in some bubbles, changing too much is a sign of instability, right? So it depends on why you're doing what you're doing.
To this because, yeah, you may think that, oh, having a boob job, like, it's not like changing your hair color. Like, you're basically changing your whole body, like, permanently. And I get that. I totally get that. Like, we have like, everyone has different, level of acceptance and level of like comfortability with body changes. And I think my comfortability is like pretty high. For me, life is like, I don't want to take life seriously or too seriously. And for me, I had the flat chested body for the longest time. Like, I love it. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. I love my chest. I love my flat chest. I think I'm the girl that loved her flat chest like the most in the entire world. Try to find flat chested girl that loved her flat chest more than me, like, and make 900 videos about it. And I made it because I loved it. I made it because I'm so confident and proud of my flat chest, and I want every flat chested girl to feel the same way about their flat chest. That's how convicted, that's how like committed I was to my flat chest. So of course, when I was thinking about, oh, should I get boob job? Like boob job.
Hold on, chat. Chat says she's a liar, LOL. Wait, who's a liar? This girl? I don't think so. I agree with her though. I think like if this is true, then I agree with her because like this is how I would feel. Like if I got a nose job later, that wouldn't change the fact that like I learned to love my nose and then I changed it because I wanted something else. Right? Like, are you saying I can never get a nose job? That's so stupid. Are we that fucking dumb? Like, come on, guys. Let's get it together. Like, literally, are you saying people could never get surgery and not love themselves? Like, obviously, lots of people don't love themselves. But if you love yourself, what, now I can't get anything? Now I can't get a tattoo done? Because, like, people used to say that, like, oh, like, if you loved yourself, you wouldn't get a tattoo. Girl, no. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a silly construct. Why are you putting this construct on yourself? If you're doing it for the right reason, it's fine. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest. Chet said she was the most comfortable girl in the world with a flat chest. Yeah, but that doesn't make her a liar. She's saying she eventually got to the point where she was very comfortable. I mean, she was comfortable enough to put herself out there. I would argue that's a form of comfortability, right? Like you have to be comfortable with yourself by putting yourself out there as a content creator, right? Like eventually she was insecure at first and then got secure and then got the money to have something different. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if it's for the right reason, it's fine. If it's for the wrong reason, it's not fine. But only you know that for yourself. For some people, getting a nose job is just a sign of their insecurity, which by the way, is it wrong to be insecure? It's not wrong to be insecure. What's important is that you have a healthy relationship with your insecurity, right? Discord said that's like saying if you really liked oranges, that's the only fruit you would eat. Or saying if you really loved your partner, you wouldn't be poly. It's like, oh, if you really loved your partner, you wouldn't be open. It's like, girl, you know what I mean? If you're insecure, ask yourself why you're insecure about something. There's a lot of cope in the world, for sure, about like feeling comfortable, feeling smart, feeling good about yourself. But make sure you work on that cope. Make sure you work on why you're doing something. A lot of polyamorous couples are unhealthy, just like a lot of monogamous couples are unhealthy. But it's not exactly lying. It's coping and maybe deceiving yourself, which is a form of a lie, if you're not being honest with yourself. So that's why I say my greatest tool to give you guys is sit by yourself and be honest with yourself because you're the only person who knows what's going on in your head. I can't read your mind. You're the only person who can be honest with yourself. So when you decide what you want to look like, make sure you're honest with yourself when you say, this is the answer. Because I can't read your mind. I can guess, I can make a judgment, I could feel like I'm right, but ultimately you're the only person who knows that, you know? You're the only person who knows that, you know? So yeah, so maybe, you know, I see you chat. You said, I don't disagree with you. I think my wording is not making sense I think the wording is not making sense to my brain. I think lie sounds like deception, but she might be deceiving herself, but that doesn't mean she's lying to us. The thing about her audience is they felt scammed by her. They felt disappointed by her. But that's the thing. She went 6 years of making content and then got a boob job. Relax. Relax. As if we're not allowed to be insecure, find security, and still change anyways. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was very secure having my own apartment, even though it was kind of shitty and in a shitty neighborhood. I was just proud I had a place to my own, right? But that doesn't mean that as I've gotten older, I haven't wanted a better apartment, a cleaner apartment, a nicer apartment, right? Yes, for people, but mostly for myself. Because even though I was secure in the fact that I could afford my own place, I wasn't as happy with like just staying stagnant. I wanted a better apartment. Now, a lot of people get nicer apartments because they want to show off to people, right? But it's like one of those things where sometimes you just want to have a clean place for people to come to, or a clean place for you to wake up in every day. This is the nicest apartment I've ever lived in, the one I'm in now. And it just feels like, it feels so good every day. Even when it's like, maybe when the sink is full at the end of the day or something, it still feels so clean because everything is so clean. I've always lived in very old buildings, very like stained walls. You know, a lot of people lived there before me. And I've always lived in places that were just like, it was livable. But this is so nice. And I just love living here. And it makes me feel like all of my hard work has like paid off. And that's okay. Right? So it's about the why. Why do we want to live in a nice place? Why do we want to be a certain way? Why do we want to show up a certain way? Is it for us or for other people? Is it for both? Is it for our community? So again, you're right that if she is lying to us, well, that's between her and her conscience. But like, I don't think she's scamming her audience so far. But I think it's kind of like, I don't think she sought out to be like, oh, I'm going to trick the internet into thinking I'm confident so I can make money to get a boob job. I just think she went through a journey in which she got comfortable with herself and then decided, yeah, I'm comfortable. Now my insecurity doesn't come from this, but also I'm not happy with this. It's okay to feel secure and unhappy at the same time. I am very secure with my job, but I am very excited to continue growing as a content creator, which by the way, guys, let's get to 100,000 subscribers this year. Please subscribe because 30% of people who watch me aren't subscribed. Please like the stream. Please share it because that interaction with the stream literally tells YouTube to share it with other people and puts me on their radar. So don't be stingy with your likes. Like the stream, guys. It helps. Okay. Chat says, nah, sorry. But if you loved your small chest, why change it? Funny how the different avatar always seems to fall on conventionally attractive lines. I'm not mad at her for it. Insecurities are hard. I think regardless of what bubble you're in, there is a standard of what's the pretty standard and the ugly standard. So if you're goth, there are pretty goths and poor goths who can't afford to look pretty. I said what I said. There are goths who have a high standard of expectation for the aesthetic. I've seen them. I know the difference. And then there are the other goths who I'm like, so that's what I equate it to. Regardless of the bubble you're in, there's the pretty version of the bubble and the not so pretty version of the bubble. And all of it has to do with quality of product, quality of clothing, and quality of how you show up, right? So for me personally, I think you can say, I love this thing, but I'm also over it. I want something new, like a car. I loved my car, but I kind of want something different. I loved my hair, but I kind of want to do something different. Do you know what I mean? I love it, but I kind of want to do something different. I just feel like this sounds like the conversation people have where they're like, if you shave your pubic hair, like you want to be a child. It's like, this is so stupid. What a reductive conversation. And the same way, it's like people who are like, they don't know why they shave their pubic hair. To be honest, it's none of our business what people do with their fucking pubic hair. Do you know what I'm saying? It's none of our business what you do with your arm hair. I don't care. It's none of my business. It's none of my fucking business. Okay? Like, I don't know why y'all are so interested in having so many fucking opinions about people's bodies. Like, that you don't understand has to do with your own insecurity. So again, so far, I'm not seeing evidence that she scammed her audience or that this isn't just her business and has nothing to do with me. Okay? All right? Chet says I had a couple major plastic surgeries and the confidence I gained from making my outside look more how I feel inside was really life-changing. Exactly. It's gender affirming care. If you get plastic surgery for gender affirming care, I think that's beautiful. If you get it and you think it's going to make you happy, but then you discover it doesn't, find something else. I think that's exactly, I agree with you so hard, chat, that I want the outside to mimic or to show you how I feel on the inside. I want my outside to match how I feel about my inside, right? And so like, if she's sitting here on a journey, I'm good with it. Now, of course, if she comes out years later and says, yeah, actually, I changed my mind. I don't like that aesthetic. I'm going to go for something else. That's okay too. Or if she says, actually, you know, I got my boob job and it didn't actually fill that emptiness inside me. I'm still looking for what that thing is. That's okay too. But attacking her and being like, ha, I knew it. You're insecure, bitch. It's like, you're so mean for no reason. So you're punching down an already insecure person to make yourself feel better? What are you doing? Like, leave her alone. But okay, if you want to have that opinion, that's fine. But like, do you know you're punching down an already insecure person? You're saying, wow, you made me feel so good about myself, not to feel pressured by society. I can't believe you were so pressured by society. You got a boob job. Oh, you mean she got so pressured by the people around her that for the sake of her mental health, she tried to conform so she'd feel better? If that's even your argument, right? Chet says, we don't live in a vacuum though. Yes, but Habibi, everything you do has to be deconstructed for that reason. You might as well not exist if you don't want to be influenced by people. You cannot exist and not be influenced. There's nothing wrong with being influenced. You know what I'm saying? You're making it sound like it's specific to plastic surgery when it's literally how you talk, what you eat, where you live, what you drive, who you fuck. Every single thing you do is a part of the environment you were raised with and the biological experience you're having. You are the same as her because we don't live in a vacuum unless you meditate yourself into one. And when you do that, you will really, really know yourself. Meditate yourself into a vacuum so you can figure out who you are when you show up in the world. Because the only place you exist in a vacuum is in your own meditative state. That is true. Okay? But existing is a journey. Existing is a process. Okay? Existing is a process. And she seems to be in that process on a journey. And I'm not mad about it. So the question is, why don't I care that she got plastic surgery done? Because I have no issue with plastic surgery. Why are you mad she got plastic surgery? Right? Chet says that we agree on that. Claire does not live in a vacuum and is a public figure. So I don't know why it's surprising that people are pointing out insecurities in her words. To be honest, you're not even in a vacuum in the meditative state. Okay, why? First, we shouldn't be deconstructing why she got a boob job. We should be deconstructing why we're giving opinions about her boob job. That's where we should be examining why we have opinions, not why she got the boob job. That's her business. Her job is to deconstruct why she got the boob job. Our job is to deconstruct why we have opinions about her boob job. So the question is, yes, she's a public figure, and yes, people have opinions, but it's the job of those people giving opinions to decide, why do I have this opinion? Why was I so mad at Clara that Brittany Simon, who had never heard of her, now is talking about her on stream? Chet says because she's a public figure who talked about it publicly. Habibi, deconstruct the sentence. You're not answering my question. You think you're answering my question. You're giving me the most shallow answer you could give me right now. That is the shallow answer. Yes, she's a public figure, so we're talking about it. Why did the internet make her so much more popular that somebody outside of her sphere, Brittany Simon, has to now respond to this because people were so upset with this? Why did this become a trending topic? It wasn't just that she's a public figure. Why is this a trending topic? Answer it. Answer it. Okay? Chet says she is hot and we are jealous. Honestly, she looks fucking good. She looked good both ways. One was like kind of like girl next door and one is just like very high femme, right? But cute either way. Okay, so all I'm saying is I understand why that superficial initial answer sounds good, but it's not the actual answer. Chet says, to be honest, I don't think you're understanding me. Don't make it shallow. To be honest, you seem to be extremely defensive and projecting your own feelings onto her. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's wrong? What happened? What are you doing? Because I'm listening to this woman explain exactly why she changed. And then I'm explaining it to you. And then you're the one who's like, I think she's coping. I think she's wrong. I think Brittany's wrong too. How am I the one projecting her feelings when I'm explaining and agreeing with her feelings? You're the one projecting onto her. You're saying she doesn't exist in a vacuum, that you don't believe her. So don't turn it around on me and say like, oh, you're projecting onto her. You're the one who started this conversation with that attitude, girl. Okay? So I don't know what you're going for. And again, she's allowed to change her mind in 2 years. She's allowed to change her mind in a week. She's allowed to come on stream in 2 weeks and say, actually, I regret my boob job. Anything she does is good. Chet says, I'm giving an opinion as a fan of yours who is noticing an unusually hostile energy from you. I never said cope or wrong or anything, chill. What's happening? Are we doing autistic on autistic crime? Am I not allowed to be passionate? Am I not allowed to be loud? Am I not allowed to be excited? Am I not allowed to engage the way I literally do on every fucking stream? This has literally been my personality since day one, since I came out my mom's vagina. So I need to know why you think I'm being hostile when I'm literally speaking the way I normally do. And don't be like, oh, normally Brittany's so calm and sweet. Girl, you've been watching a different Brittany. You've been watching a different Brittany then. Okay? So not really sure what's happening now. Okay, let's go back to the girl in question because this is what it's really about.
Has never crossed my mind for the longest time, okay? But there's a lot of synchronicities and different signs from the universe. It's kind of crazy, but I'll save that for another video. I don't want to like ramble on too much in this video. But like, it just suddenly like appeared as an option, as like possible reality for me to step into. And I was like, you know what? I know I'm gonna love my chest, like no matter what. Like I think if I was born with a big chest, like overly big or whatever, like even normal size, and you know, every girl would at some point in their life would have insecurity about their chest.
Hold on, chat. You said I'm not saying you're not allowed to do anything, but you are getting angry at me when I'm saying people are going to have an opinion on the topic she's frequently talked about. Habibi, not only am I not angry, but the fact that you think I'm angry, baby, I'm not angry at you. I'm almost disappointed in you, but that's it. I'm not angry at you. Your commentary is exactly what I'm trying to get people to deconstruct. You're just giving me an example of a real life person doing exactly the thing that I think is the problem with humanity. You are looking at the superficial answers, thinking that's the depth of the deconstruction. You haven't even gone past the surface. And I'm excited for you to get there. Thank you for being a real life example of exactly what I'm trying to get you to do. Pop the bubble. Deconstruct. Go deeper. Because right now, you are saying exactly what everyone else is saying. Yes, exactly. That's what everyone says when this conversation comes up. Can we please say something different? Can there be a different version of exploring this very nuanced, very personal topic about people's bodies? Okay? I am very opinionated about people, but I'm asking you to deconstruct the idea that she's a public figure. So therefore, no, not therefore. Why do people have the opinion, okay, of being angry at her, right? Chet says, I'm trying to explain why people are talking about her. I'm not agreeing with them. How about you listen to my words? You're not, though. Listen to me when I say this. Habibi, you're not. You think I don't know that? You think as a YouTuber and a public figure, I don't know that people have comments about public figures? Who are you talking to right now? You're talking to a person who's in her same position. You think we don't know why people are talking about us? I'm saying, do they know why they're talking about us? They don't. You're not getting it. You don't even know why you are talking about it. I am a public figure. People make content about me. I'm asking, do you know why you're actually making comments about people? Yes, of course we make comments about people. They're public figures. I've done the same thing. I've said the same thing. But why do I do it? I make comments about public figures because I'm using real life examples to have philosophical conversations about the meaning of being a person. That's my why. Why are they doing it? Because saying, oh, because she's a public figure is not the reason why. It is only what they think is why. I know why I talk about people. Why do you talk about people? So don't sit there in my comments and being like, I'm explaining it to you. You're explaining to a content creator why people make videos about people? That's not the why. But it sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds good. It almost sounds like that's why. But that's not the why, is it? All right.
Right? So I think even if I have like a big, like super big boobs in the beginning, I would make videos about how to feel great about having overly big boob or how to feel great about having normal sized boobs. It's just the type of person I am. And I have worked.
Okay, chat. You said, okay, yeah, but to what degree can you be mad at the public for? I'm not mad at anybody. Habibi, no one's mad. You said mad at the public for commenting on something you put out there, and the why for them is because they feel the original message was disingenuous. Nobody's mad. They're mad. I'm saying, why are they mad? Because they feel betrayed by a stranger. I'm not mad. I'm saying, why do you think the commenters are mad at a public figure for living her own life and thinking that they're body positive? I'm not mad. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know why you keep thinking people are mad. I'm not mad. So I think you're confused. And not that my chat is just blindly like agreeing with me, but I think they also feel like you're confused.
On myself so much over the years. Like, you have no idea how much I've been through over the years. You know, I feel like a lot of people, of course, I mean, it makes sense. Like, you don't know me in real life. You don't know my history. You don't know what I've been through, you know? And of course, there is a certain persona that I portray online. And at that point, I was pure and simple. I was making like my flat chested content and being super simple with like my makeup. I don't even wear makeup in my videos, okay? I just wasn't interested in makeup or like fashion that much, to be honest with you all. And that was my version. That was the version of myself back then. And I love her. Like, when I look at myself back then, I'm like, she's so gorgeous. Like, I love her. But everyone changed because everyone grow. As I grow older, I just, like I said, have different interests. Now I want to talk about makeup and beauty.
Chat said, because she used to preach a message about accepting your body as it is. Please don't patronize me. I'm not confused. We're just having a misunderstanding. Okay. 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 Fine. The beginning of your sentence. She can preach, love your body as it is, and still get plastic surgery. This is not contradictory. It is only contradictory if the internal relationship with the why is contradicting. You can love your body and still get plastic surgery. You can love the house you live in and still get a new one. You can love your boyfriend and get a second boyfriend. Okay? 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 Yes? Chat said, or you said, for the record, I don't care. She got a boob job. I'm just explaining why I think people are upset. Yeah, but then somebody just reposted your comment. You said, nah, sorry. But if you loved your small chest, why change it? So you literally were giving your own fucking opinion. Don't fuck with me. Like, you were giving your own opinion. Stop. If you're arguing for other people, then why would that be your opinion? And I can look at all the chat you just posted. YouTube gives me access to it. So is that someone else's opinion? Because that sounds like your opinion. So you're doubting her. You're saying you can't, and then you argue that she chose a conventional aesthetic. And then I said every community has their conventional aesthetic. She chose a high femme one, but even if you were goth, there'd be a conventional aesthetic, an expectation of aesthetic. So you are the one who made your sentence. You're the one who confused chat. You know? Chat says I'm pointing out the contradiction. I'm not giving my personal opinion on her boobs. Okay, focus. I'm disagreeing with your contradiction and I'm saying it isn't one. I'm saying she is not contradicting herself. That is my opinion. And that is my opinion. Now, I don't know because I can't read her mind, but I guarantee you there's somebody out in the world who can love their body and still change it. Those two things are not contradictory. The only time it's contradictory is if the internal realization is different. The why is different. Okay, we're done. Thank you for trying. You told me not to be patronizing, but with peace and love, bro. Okay? Something, okay? Figure it out.
And shift away from my body positivity. Not that I'm never gonna make body positivity content anymore, because like I said, like it's still something that I believe in. It's still something that I feel like, yeah, like I love the message. But for me, I think body positivity doesn't have to be boxed into like, oh, if you love yourself, then just be happy with yourself and don't change anything. Of course, I know that if you agree with that message, like full on, I totally respect that. I think there's definitely validity in that point of view. But from my point of view, I'm like, I love myself. I love myself so much. Changing myself to have fun, to have new experience, to have new version of reality. Like I see no.
Okay, you're gonna get banned because you're obviously triggered or something is going on with you. You said she can love her body, but I disagree that she loved her flat chest because she clearly didn't. Sorry if that makes you all upset. You just said you were never giving an opinion about her boobs, but this is what you're doing, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and ban you because you're acting like first of all, you're fucking with all of us in chat, right? Like you literally are contradicting yourself. And I think it's because you wanted my attention. So congratulations on getting it. But also, okay, we're done. Thank you.
Problem with that. And the love for myself doesn't depend on the size of my chest, okay? It doesn't depend on like the external factor, what I look like on a certain day. It's so deep that I can change myself like physically and still feel that same amount of love or even more, I've seen a lot of these comments recently that like, oh, I miss the old Clara. I missed your content before. And like I said, of course, like I understand that because it's why you're here. It's what makes that kind of content makes you follow me in the first place. And I am so grateful that you're here. But you also have to.
Yes, chat, talking out both sides of their mouth. Exactly. Chat says, to be honest, I'm stuck on the gender affirming care wording because it implies to me that in order to be accepted as a woman, you have to be a beautiful woman, whatever that means to you. Maybe I'm overthinking. Well, you're misunderstanding the context. Gender affirming care applies to any person who gets anything done to themselves to make themselves feel more like themselves. So it's not about being a woman. It's not about being any gender. It wasn't even about plastic surgery. It was about piercings and tattoos and hair. That's the problem. We're so conditioned by society that any conversation we're having sounds to us like it's about being a woman. We're not even talking about women. We're talking about all forms of gender affirming care, from tattoos to muscles. I gave a gym example earlier, but isn't that amazing how our brains are so conditioned that we don't even hear the conversations that are happening because we go right to the default of our bubble, which is not a fault of yours. That is so human. It is so human. Yes, body modification. Body modification is a form of gender affirming care. It's a form of feeling good about your consciousness, okay? Like anything we're doing to modify our bodies is about feeling more in tune with ourselves, our consciousness affirming care. We're affirming our consciousness. We're affirming our life, okay? How many of you noticed that I dyed my hair? Did anybody notice? Because I noticed. Did you notice? I added red into my roots for 4 months. I couldn't find my hair dye anywhere in the stores. Okay. But I see the difference. Do any of you see the difference? It's about me. I know I did it and I see the difference and I love it. And I'm so glad I found it. I found some henna dye at a health food store. I didn't need you guys to notice to feel good about myself. I feel so fucking complete. Like I feel like myself again. All I'm saying is like, you don't have to notice for me to feel good about what I did. But if you did notice, great, but it wasn't for you. It was for me. Chess says, fake streamer, no self-love. Listen, I know a lot about self-love. You gotta eat that carnivore diet. You gotta eat ass. Like it's the last meal you'll have. Listen, okay? You got to wear cool suits and get your name printed on them. Okay, listen. I know everything about self-love. Trust me. I know a lot about it. Okay, all of this to say, Jordan Peterson is exactly the example of when you have money, you step up your game. That man did step up his game the moment he got money. Talk about gender affirming care. You know what I mean? Anyways, All of this to say, not everything we do is about the public. Now, if we share it, one, it's going to make a good video. And two, it's because other people are curious. I love plastic surgery videos. I'm just so interested in, I love hair dyeing videos. I love piercing videos. I love body modification videos. I just think they're so interesting. And it's because that, you know, it's just fun. It's like getting your car decked out. You know how some people spend no money on themselves, but they spend all their money on their cars? Whatever makes you joyful, but don't do it because of an empty reason, or you'll just continue feeling empty. If you do it for the right reason, you'll feel full. If you do it for the wrong reason, you'll continue to feel empty. And the only person who can answer that is you. We can guess, we can judge, but you're the only person who will know if it's really making you joyful. Okay?
Understand that like the type of content I was creating, and I was so pure and I was so simple. Do you know that in my own personal life at the time, what I was going through, like you don't know, right? Because I could have this image of, oh, like love yourself, I love my flat chest. I could have this very innocent, pure image online. But in my personal life, people were mistreating me, people were abusing me, and I let it happen.
And I don't think people understand, like if you're a grown woman and you still look like a kid because of the body you have, getting boobs done could just make you feel your age. Because even though we love the itty bitty titty committee, we have to remember that for some people, they might not ever feel like a woman, like a grown up, if they don't feel like they have the body of a grown up. So it's okay for her to, you know, she had braces, she looked young. Maybe she felt like she was getting targeted by men who were disgusting. Maybe she just wanted to look older because she was aging, but her body wasn't, right? Like, let her get her boobs done. Let her feel a little bit grown up. It's not her fault she has a genetic predisposition to look like a fucking kid. You know what I mean? So again, I think people just forget that there's so many reasons why you might want to get it done. And yes, chat, great point. People infantilize you as well. How many people weren't taking her serious because she didn't look like a woman? This happens to people with facial hair, like men with facial hair. Sometimes when a man can't grow a beard, he'll feel like everyone's treating him like a kid. He just wants to grow facial hair so people know he's grown. But like, you know, we all have ways we show up in the world to appear, quote, our age, you know? So all of these things I think are very important to talk about. We always go for the superficial. We always go for like the typical. We always think they're like these types of girls that just want to be baddies on Instagram. Some of these people are not just dealing with wanting like male centered appreciation. Some of these women are literally losing job opportunities because people think they look like they're 12 years old at their job. Like think about people who show up to a job and you got to look like the adult in the room to be the leader, but you don't look your age. Why do men keep a beard? You know, you ever see that joke on TikTok that like a beard is like man's makeup? That a lot of men are like, oh my God, without my beard, I look like a kid. Nobody takes me seriously. It's just that. Sometimes it's just that. Sometimes it's just that, you know? So for her, we don't know. And so when you say, I miss the old so-and-so, that's about you. That's not about the content creator. I've never gone on someone's post and said, I really miss the old so-and-so. Have I made content saying, man, I miss the old Ethan? But to be honest, what I missed was the feeling I got when I watched the old Ethan. But the truth is the old Ethan also had problems. So we don't really miss the old version of a content creator. We miss how that content creator made us feel. It's about us. And that's okay. But do you know it's about you and it's not about them? Like, do you know it's about you? Because sometimes I think y'all think it's really about them. Do you think I give a fuck about Ethan fucking Klein? No. Did I really love the feeling I got when I used to watch him? Yeah. But I'll just find that with somebody else. Like, it's not about Ethan. It's about me. It's like a comfort show. I'll just get a new comfort show. Right now, it seems to be cooking shows. Cooking shows are my new comfort show. You know? Okay.
My own personal life, I went through so much drama, so much hurt, so much trauma, and I came out of it. It's in 2023 that I had like a rebirth, like an epiphany. Like I know when you like went back and you would see me like suddenly changing my hair from black to red, and I was literally shedding the old version of myself because I went through a lot at the time. And the red hair,
I can't tell you how many times my physical aesthetic would change when I was like for every season of my life. Why do you think there's so many different versions of Britney? Every time I had a breakup, a job change, location change, like I would literally change the way I look to reflect the state of life I was in. Like it was like a rebirthing. Getting a new haircut feels like an opportunity to rebirth. Oh, I love getting a haircut.
it was like a new beginning for me. And that's when, since I had the red hair, it's so crazy because like a new hair color can kind of change your identity so much, or it's just maybe the type of person I am. And I just started, you know, loving myself more, like truly loving and respecting myself. Not just like saying online that like, oh, you should love yourself, like you should love yourself no matter what, but actually like living it, actually like, you know, feel it in my bone and, you know, face my demons and just really learn to like move on, just really learn to become the version of me that I've always meant to become. When you say that like you miss that old version of me, I could understand that, but you don't know that that version of me is not as confident, is not as self-respecting, is not as happy as I am now. And I like who I am now. I like who I have become. I have recently moved to Vietnam and I love the life here. I really feel at home. I really feel so happy waking up by the beach, and it's like my lifelong dream for so long. I'm telling you, my flat chest has brought me so many great things in my life. So there's nothing wrong with your flat chest. My flat chest has literally given me this dream life. Let me tell you straight up, since I started my content in 2019, since the first video that I made about loving your flat chest, I think it's June 2019 that I posted that video, I was already super confident with my flat chest since beginning of 2019. That's like when my confidence like really rise from like, I was like rock bottom in terms of confidence in the past. But that, when I made that first video about flat chest, loving your flat chest in June 2019, that was when my confidence already at like a solid like 70, 75. She was confident, and at the time, I thought that it's like 100% confidence already.
Exactly. Chat said it was never about her chest. It's never about our bodies. It's never about anything. It's never about our money or our education or our families. It's about our relationship with self. That's why that's why a lot of people make a lot of money and are still miserable, because it was never about being poor. You think it is because in the state of being you're in, you're like, if I could just have this thing, my life would be better. And then when you have it, your life is better, but you're still empty. Because true joy isn't about the next thing. It's about the relationship with self. So that's why I'm saying she's allowed to say, oh, it was never about getting a boob job. It was about the freedom to explore it, though. I think what's important is we give people the tools to explore the options. Right? Chet says, and yet when she changed her body, she became happier. I think it's not that she changed her body that she became happier. It was that she had the right and the choice to change it. I think we don't understand how choice changes everything. Being able to experiment is so beautiful, and you have no idea until you get the chance to do it, because you think it's the thing. It's not the thing. It's the ability to experiment with the thing that is so great, right? It's just like, I think people really underestimate freedom. Like we really underestimate why do you think we seek it out? Why do you think the whole theme of the world is freedom, freedom, freedom? Right? Chet said she also said she changed her hair and became happier. Exactly. Like, because I feel so happy after a haircut. I just love the change, you know? Like yes, Chet says Brittany says it all the time. It would be nice to pop him off for a different look. Oh, exactly. But it doesn't mean Britt isn't confident or love what she has. Sometimes I wish I didn't have boobs. Sometimes I wish I could snap my finger and be flat chested and super big and muscular. And then some days I want to pop and be Jessica Rabbit. And then some days I want to pop and I want to be like full boy. And then some days I want to pop and be full girl. And some days I want to pop and be androgynous. Like sometimes I wish I could just snap my fingers and be a different aesthetic every fucking day, if not 20 times a day. Yeah, sometimes I really wish I had a penis. And then other days I'm really glad I have a vagina. And then some days I wish a lot of things. What you have to do. Yeah, Mystique from X-Men. Oh, if I was Mystique from X-Men, bros, it would go wild. Okay, it would be wild. Okay, it would be the dream. That she has the best thing. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. I just want the outside to almost like show you what I feel. That's why it feels so good to be seen. because you don't have to change who you are to be seen by people who really see you. But when you existed, that's why I say, okay,
But the thing is, as
going back to the paint structure, there's a difference between when you exist in the world for yourself and then when you interact with the world. At home, my partner and I could go 2 months without showering and it wouldn't change how my partner sees me. It would probably be an indication that I'm depressed, but it wouldn't change how my partner saw me because my partner would see me. But if I came on stream after not showering for 2 months, I think I would be judged by the internet. Maybe because they would call me disgusting or because the internet would be concerned about me. If Brittany does not shower for a month, please be concerned. Because I love to shower. It's like to be fair, when I'm depressed, I actually shower more. Fun fact. Actually, fun fact, if I didn't shower for 2 months, I probably have like an actual serious illness, like more serious, because when I'm depressed, I actually take longer showers and I lay down in the shower and I cry. It's been a long time since I've done that, but just so you know, that is my coping mechanism. I love a shower. So the point is like how you show up at home doesn't change who you are. How you show up in the world changes because you have to interact with that world. That's that extrospection. Introspection, how you feel about yourself and your place in the universe. Extrospection, how the world interacts with you and you interact with the world, everything outside of yourself, right? So of course we show up to the world, like when we have government appointments as an example. I was like, okay, we have to dress organized and nice and we have to look well groomed because people treat you differently. And I want no reason for my visa to be rejected because the girl didn't shower. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to respect the rules of the country. How does the country expect me to show up? In your culture, what does it mean to show up with respect? Because it's going to be different, right? And that's all I'm trying to say is like, I know who I am when I'm not interacting with the world. But the moment we interact with the world, even when we're joyful, the world will find a way to doubt us. What did the content creator ask me? How do you know you're not going to get bored in your relationship if it's so healthy? Do you know what I'm saying? The world is miserable. The world is miserable. I am not interested in the world's opinion about my joy. I am interested in my ability to discern if I am indeed joyful. My only concern for Clara is if she is truly able to discern if she is joyful. I am not concerned with her audience who is insecure in the first place, who objectified this woman and only put her on a pedestal so they could feel better about their ugly selves. Not that they're ugly, but they feel ugly about themselves. That's why they were gravitating towards her content. I don't care what they think because they're healthy, they're insecure, they're not healthy. Because why would they attack her for her relationship with her body if they really understood what it meant to feel insecure in your body? So do you know what I'm saying? How can you tell me you understand what it really means to feel insecure about your body and then attack a person for engaging in a different relationship with their body? Especially if you think she's lying. So, okay, let's go into the audience's mind. They think Claire is lying. They think she's deceiving them. They think she's insecure. And so now, because she's insecure, they're going to bully her for being so insecure she falls for the trap of plastic surgery? And this makes you a good person? So it's like, did you see what Megan? Oh my God. This is exactly the energy it gives. Oh, you just wait, girl. I'll bring it up for you. This is the energy it gives. Megan Kelly on Ariana Grande body. Oh, have you seen this clip? This is exactly the energy it gives. Hold up here. Hold on. Is this...
impeach Donald Trump?
Hold on, I'm trying to find a good clip of it. Why does it all have music?
I think that
Okay.
Ariana Grande needs to put more thought into how to add 1/2 an ounce of fat back onto her body than she does thinking about President Trump being impeached. Obviously, she is in the middle of a crisis. I'm sorry, but this woman looks ill. She is beyond skinny. She looks dangerously thin. And someone needs to do an intervention to help her. I'm not saying this to be snarky. I genuinely think someone needs to help this woman. She's obviously troubled. And I think weighing in on this is just her latest folly. She was caught on camera a couple years ago saying, I hate Americans. Now here she is talking about Trump needing to be impeached. There's a lot that went on, I think, on that Nickelodeon set that's never been fully threshed out. And I think Ariana Grande should work on her own well-being.
So because Ariana Grande said fuck Trump, Megyn Kelly is like, oh, because she was abused as a child, she should focus on her eating disorder? That's the energy y'all are giving, not y'all, but the audience is giving with Clara. Like, you're giving, leave her alone. And by the way, the same energy Eugenia Cooney viewers give. I said this for like the last 10 years or however long Eugenia Cooney has been on the internet. Stop bothering her. Stop talking about her weight. Stop sending her messages. Leave that girl alone. Okay? She deserves to be a content creator. She's allowed to show up in the world. Okay? Like, you're allowed to show up in the world, but like, leave her alone. And all these people that are like, I'm so concerned for Eugenia. You're not concerned for Eugenia. You just want the social credit for trying to pay attention to a thing that isn't your business. Leave her alone. She obviously has an issue. She's going through it. Leave her alone. Like, you're allowed to exist in the world with an eating disorder. Do I think it's good? No, but you know that. I just hate the idea that we're sitting here and like saying like, oh, people are so mentally unwell. Let's bully them to be well. What are you, a conservative? What are you, my mother? What are you, my mother? You know? My mother. You know what I mean? Chad says, why does gyms exist? Why does makeup exist? Why does cosmetic surgery exist? Because people can love themselves easier when they look like their ideal self. I would argue that the love... Okay, first, you're having a biological experience in which you literally will just feel better about life if you actually treat your body with kindness. Water, hydration, food, sleep. Okay? There's that section. Because you'll just feel like shit, so you'll look like shit because you're not actually doing the healthy thing for your body. Secondary, okay? When you are joyful and happy, I think aesthetic follows. The happier I've become, the prettier I've become. The healthier I am, the prettier I am, period. Because I'm one with myself. I just think I get prettier and prettier every day I exist. Okay? Chet says it's not about bullying. A lot of people want her to be better. It's none of their fucking business if she gets better. They are fake pretending to care. They should go to therapy for being obsessed with what a public figure does with her life. Go to therapy. You're parasocial and you're toxic. It's none of your goddamn business. Somebody left a comment on my video a couple weeks ago and I was gagged. It said, I don't know if she's talked about this, but she looks different and her hair is thinning and it's losing color. Is she sick? And I was like, first of all, you're not even like addressing it to me. And I get that because that's like in some ways not addressing it to me is like, cause I'm like such a big content creator, but also like, yeah, I just didn't dye my hair and I am literally losing my hair like a lot of people are, but it's just genetic and it's probably related to stress, but I've lost all of this hair, but so, and yes, I might be sick, but also I don't believe you really care because I don't know. Sometimes I think people pretend to care, but then they don't ask you. They like ask the audience like, oh my God, did you see the video guys of Eugenia Cooney? That's not about Eugenia. That's about you getting social credit for other people caring about what you said. Do you guys not see the difference? If you come to me and say, hey, Britt, I hope this isn't personal, but like, hey, are you doing okay? That's you being interested. But if you literally make a video like, hey guys, did you see what Brittany Simon looked like? She's looking sick. That's not about me. That's not concern for my well-being. That's you trying to make a viewership out of other people gossiping about whether or not celebrities are healthy. Okay. Okay, thank you. Also, I just like want to always give people a chance to change their mind, right? So if Clara comes out and is literally like, I hate my new boobs, love that for you, girl. So you're allowed to regret your decisions. You know what I mean? And look, chat says, sorry you got messages like that. I don't care. Like, listen to me, emotionally does not matter to me. But as an observation, it just says to me, like, this is one of those people that, like, actually, it's probably going to happen more and more. If I get really popular, that's what happens. People start talking about you like you're not in the room and like you're not reading your own comments. And then they're going to, like, it's fine. It's kind of a sign of like popularity, but also it's not about me. And I want you to use the same tool. Clara should not pay attention to this commentary. It's not about her. It's about her audience not going to therapy. Yeah, chat said it's always a self-report. Exactly. I want you to get the tools in your own life to know when people are actually concerned about you and when they're actually just, it's about them. It's about them. Ooh, girl. Okay, back to the video.
As you get older, you feel more confident in yourself. And now I can say that I'm 150% confident in myself. But
wait, chat says, what if your fans are saying it? Doesn't that show they care about you? Okay, again, I just gave examples. Does that example make sense to you or no? I don't know if you're in that part of the stream, but I just gave examples about the differences. Directly, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, like people aren't really worried about me, especially if you misunderstand too. If you don't believe me, that's also not helping, right? Now, the truth is you don't have to believe me. I'm a public figure. I'm a stranger. You don't have to believe me. But if you don't believe me, you probably shouldn't be in my comment sections. This is why I don't go to Ethan's comment sections. I don't go to Hassan's comment sections. I don't go to any of these comment sections and write anything. I mind my business, except on my stream. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind if my audience is like, hey, Britt, I hope you're doing okay. That's fine. But if they're in my comments like, hey, guys, have you noticed that Brittany is acting really weird lately? That's not for me. That's for you. Does that make sense?
I know that in 5 years, probably, I would look back at this point in my life and feel like, oh my God, she has no idea what's in store for her. So that's my point.
True.
I only use my flat chest as a way to make content because I want to inspire others to feel just as beautiful. Honestly, like
Listen, I thought about doing that with my nose for a long time. I thought about making content just about having a bigger nose because people are so insecure about it. And I was like, oh, I've went through this journey. I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I don't want to talk about my nose for 900 videos. But I'm glad someone did it with her thing. She's right. If I was younger, maybe, or if I was, but like my mental health was always more important to me. Why did I make content mostly talking about mental health and like self-improvement? Because that was actually the problem I was having in my life, much more than my nose. Like my nose was like one of the many things I had to learn to love about myself. But like my mental health was so much more important to me. But for some people, their body is their relationship with mental health. But my mental health existed outside of my body. Like I didn't have mental health problems because of my body. I had mental health problems because of my mental health in relation to abandonment. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you have mental health problems in relation to your body, it makes sense why her content was about her body. And now that she doesn't have that issue, she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Just like, you know, I've moved away. I don't talk about like, I don't make a lot of content about borderline anymore. I used to make so much content about borderline and now I just don't like really make that much content about it because notice how it's not a main character, but what kind of content do I really make now? Autistic content. Because in this era of my life, I'm recently diagnosed and it's like a main character in my life right now versus my borderline's not a main character. I don't think about her very often. I might work on a video coming up about that though. It not being a main character. And hey, maybe I was misdiagnosed, but I've been seeing from women on the internet talking about how like borderline girls can't heal. I don't know what I am then because I'm doing great. Chad says, I can't wait for your ADHD content. You just know, girl. If I get diagnosed, you just know I'm about to show up. And that's the point. Is that I love that Clara said, like, yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm going to incorporate that content, but I'm kind of done making it the main character. She's on to a different part of her life. And I think that's, okay, here's my lasting theory as we get into this video and finish it. I think much like when you go sober with a group of friends, they feel abandoned. Once you get healthy as a content creator, your audience feels abandoned. Because if you make content validating an insecure audience, the chances of that audience actually healing is actually pretty low. So as you heal, they abandoned you. They abandoned you. They will abandon you because they don't know how to cope with the fact that the content creator they bonded with who was unhealed has healed now. Because now they don't feel like you're the same. Now they're like, oh, you think you're better than me? Oh, you think you're better than me? And it's not that Clara thinks she's better than you, but she has gotten better. And that can be very painful for whether it's your group of friends or an audience that used to watch you when you were fucked up. That's why a lot of comedians say, like, how would I know if I'm funny if I'm healed? How many content creators or how many like YouTubers or whatever are afraid of getting better because it will change the content? My content changes. It has changed since I've gotten healthier. And that's scary to some people because especially if you're a content creator who got famous off toxicity, well, what happens when you heal? As I'm watching Mormon Wives, what did I say was the red flag for Miranda? The red flag of Miranda is that she wants to be a part of Mom Talk. The red flag of toxicity is that anybody wants to be in Mom Talk. No healthy, secure person wants to be involved in Mom Talk. And why do we like watching them? Because even though I don't want to be the drama, I do love to watch the drama. I don't want to be the dysfunction, but I love to watch the dysfunction. But the biggest red flag, and to tell me where the girls are in their healing journey, is to see whether or not they're in Mom Talk. Yep. Okay, going back to Clara.
I have absolutely no problem with my flat chest. I love it so much. And honestly, the hardest thing that held me back from getting a boob job like a month ago when I was like deciding whether I should do this or not is like, I was just looking in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I look so good already. Like I look so perfect already. Like, do I really want to have the surgery? Like, that's the reason why I was like a little bit like, that's the biggest reason. Okay. But the other side of me is like, you know what? I just want to change. I feel like I've been doing the same thing for the longest time and I want to get to the next thing. I don't want to tie my identity to just being the flat-chested girl on social media, even though
ding, 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 ding. I don't want to tie my whole identity to this one thing. And she shouldn't have to. And she shouldn't have to. That's all I'm saying. She shouldn't have to tie her whole personality to this one thing. Her physical body. Yeah. She shouldn't have to do that. You know? Chet says they see your healing as abandonment. Exactly. I think her audience will see it as a form of abandonment. And that's the thing about unhealed audiences. Actually, that's one of the reasons I've even tried to be very careful with the content I've curated because I don't want to invite the most unhealed, chaotic people into my audience. I think that's why I do hold a standard now because I did in the past, years and years ago, have like a much more, I think, unhealed but good, well-meaning audience. And I think I don't want you like trauma dumping in my comments, right? I want you watching my content, taking notes and healing your life. I want you going to therapy. I want you getting better. I don't want you trauma dumping in my comments and thinking that's all you have to do. Do you know what I'm saying? I want you to be better. But I think in the past, I used to have like all the comments were heavy. All the comments were trauma dumping. Like all the comments were like, my dad raped me when I was young. And I was like, oh, okay, guys. Like pause. I can't come to work every day and read about your fucked up lives. Like you gotta talk to a therapist. And the problem is like, because nobody can quote afford or knows how to get therapy, they think like YouTubers are a replacement for that. We're not a replacement for that. Okay, you can't be trauma dumping, you know? And that's the problem is like, you're not a bad person for sharing, but you put me in an awkward position. You put people reading in an awkward position. And it also encourages people to get stuck there. That's why when we reviewed that lady who was 41 without a relationship, we just reviewed her again on Monday. Her audience feels really toxic and unhealed to me. And that's not their fault. A lot of them were abandoned as kids or didn't have a good life. But when you're just, it's like an incel form. I never want my audience to end up in incel form. Women suck and my life sucks and nothing's ever going to be good for negative. I don't want you to be negative. Okay? I want you to be better. So I have to censor and I have to set a standard because I don't want to create an incel form in my community. And I think I do a pretty good job. Okay? But I'm sure Clara ran into the issue of making content which brought in like a very unhealed, traumatized community that when they saw her get better or heal or actually just do what she wants with her body, they were mad at her. Can you imagine existing in a world where you do whatever you want with your body and the same audience? That's what I say. Body positivity is it's none of your business what I do with my body. Body positivity isn't loving the body you're in without changing it. Body positivity is don't judge me for what I do with my body. Same with sex positivity. Sex positivity isn't, oh, I love how much sex you have. Sex positivity is I'm not going to judge you based off the sex you're having. Sex positivity, body positivity is about judgment. It's saying, I'm not going to judge you for these reasons while the rest of the world is. I'm not going to judge Clara for getting plastic surgery. I'm not going to judge you for being fat. I'm not going to judge you for being skinny. I'm not going to judge you because of your body. That's all that means. Love yourself no matter what kind of a vessel you have. And if you want to decorate that vessel, if you want to add to that vessel, if you want to take away from that, that's up to you and I support you. Just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And the right reasons are not about the constructs around you. They're about you in relation to your values. Your values. I've talked about this with my partner. You know, hey, how do you feel if I get plastic surgery one day? That's a personal, intimate conversation to have between me, my partner, and I. How do you feel if I got my body changed? Hey, how would you feel if if I took away my breast and got a double mastectomy? Like, hey, how would you feel if I did this? We talk about it as a couple. Okay? Because it's our personal choices. But they can impact our marriage, so that's why we talk about it. But like, my body is up for transformation. My life is up for transformation. I am allowed to change what I'm doing with my life and how I appear in the world with it. This is why conservatives who are obsessed with trans people are keep talking about how plastic surgery makes you fake. Just a reminder that transitioning doesn't make you fake. Plastic surgery doesn't make you fake. It's not about fake. It's not a lie. It's an experience. And as long as you guys keep pushing this narrative that plastic surgery makes you fake or it makes you say you don't love yourself, in my opinion, the other side of that conservative argument that like trans people are fake because they get plastic surgery. You're not fake because you got plastic surgery. You're just having an experience. And often an experience to match how you feel on the inside, whether it's gender affirming care or consciousness affirming care. Okay? Okay.
I have no problem with it, okay? With everything I say, I feel like people can just take it out of context and like spin it and make me like seem like I don't love my flat chest, but it's like the furthest thing from the truth, okay? Let's just think about it. Think about it this way, okay? You love your body and you can still choose to go to the gym every single day with the hope that you would build your dream goal body. But it doesn't mean that you hate your body, right? Or like you love your black.
Even though it can. So on the other side of things, I agree with Clara, but on the other side of things, if you're going to the gym because you hate your body, going to the gym isn't for you. That's why I say, like, just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy. Just because you're at the gym doesn't mean you're healthy. Okay? Just because you're at the gym doesn't mean you're healthy. But the only person who can really know that, though we can guess from the outside, is you, if you're honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, right?
Hair. But you can also just want to have red hair for a change. It doesn't mean that you hate your black hair, okay? Just like that, okay? I absolutely love my flat chest. But I also just want to try having boobs for fun, to see what it's like to have boobs, to see what it's like, what it looks like with clothes, you know? Of course I could see what boobs look like in clothes, but it would be from like pictures online. Like I want to see it on myself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that body positivity and changing yourself is like the opposite of each other. We can coexist, okay? Life can be nuanced, you know? What you believe in can be nuanced. It doesn't have to be black and white. That is like teenage level thinking. When I was a teenager in my young 20s, I definitely believed that, oh, if you love yourself, like I would never have work done because I love myself. Of course, that's great for you. That's great for you. If that's what you believe in. I totally believed in that before I turned 25, okay? Totally believed.
Actually, Chad made a great point. I think plastic surgery triggers so much because it's still a tool that only a privileged few can access. Maybe when it's more accessible, people will be more accepting. I actually think that's so fucking true because I think a lot of people, that's why I say, like, if you had money, you'd probably get something done. Or if you had money, you'd probably get a new house. Or if you had money, you'd probably get a different car. Or if you had money, you'd get a different apartment. Because we don't have as much money, we tend to think of the choices we're making as like, we're really down to earth. We're really humble, actually. Even if I had money, I wouldn't do this. But the truth is that there are just things you would do if you had money. Okay. There are things you would do. And actually, that's a really great conversation to have with friends and family. And like my partner and I have it all the time. We always say, okay, if we had money, what would we do? Like, if we had more money, what's the life we want? Because there are lots of ways we do not want to live. Like, there are a lot of different lifestyles and ways of existing that we are not interested in. But if we had money, what are some of the ways we would utilize that money? And then we often have conversations about like, okay, is our goal to have that much money or just to have fun thinking about it? And what does that mean about our life? Because I know lots of people with lots of money who definitely spend that money, but they don't do the same thing with money that you would do with money. Because not everybody wants the same thing. But I think it's a really great, honest conversation to have with people. Like, I can make the best out of my life. I know myself well enough. I am very comfortable in any state of life that I'm in. But hopefully, if I'm in a more forced, humble living stage, I'm able to get out of it into a little bit more comfortable of a stage. But like right now, our food budget is like really minimal. So we don't get tempted to like splurge on like certain things until we reach our next financial goal, because we're doing like these little steps. Once we get to this next financial goal, our food budget's going to go up, and I'm like so excited. But like at the same time, it's still going to be reasonable for our life. So I know I can live off a minimal food budget, but I can't wait to live off more. Now, our minimal food budget does not allow for starvation. So I've been in a financial situation where I had no money for food, and I was definitely looking for pennies and coins on the floor. We're not there. So to be totally transparent, we're in a financial situation where our minimal for food consumption is like meeting our calorie, meeting what we want to eat at a reasonable level, where it doesn't let us splurge on like lots of, like Cokes or drinks or candies, like things that are like, or like certain vegan food that I maybe would gorge on, right? Because I just found this amazing health food store, and it is so expensive, but the vegan food is so good. But like, it's a little bit outside the budget, but I can buy a few things a week to try and save up for the next week instead of getting it all in one week. That's like a way to think about it. So when our budget goes up, when we reach that next financial goal, it's going to be really exciting to be like, oh, now I can have 5 different specific vegan things from this vegan store that was really expensive, but now I can afford it, versus saving up for next week and trying like maybe a different brownie once a week instead of, or twice a week instead of once a week, something like that. The idea is that, I've been at the stage where I had no money and I only had $2 a day. It was actually $1.75 a day to eat. That was it. I've been there. It sucked. It fucking sucked. It was like the least most interesting thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I do not recommend it for anybody. Okay. I lost a shit ton of weight and I was really depressed and it was a whole thing. Okay. That was not fun. And people used to watch me pick up coins from the street and buy like my food, and they'd be like, oh my God, Brittany, you're so frugal. You're so good with money. I think it's so great how much you save on lunch every day. But they didn't know that I was actually just starving. They're like, oh my God, you're so skinny. Like, I can't believe it. And then when I got too skinny, they were like, hey, are you okay? You look like you have cancer. And then years later in my life, I went through another depressive episode and I got really big. I gained a bunch of weight. I was eating that condensed milk girlies, like hot Cheetos and condensed milk. And then I got fat. And then people were like, hey, are you okay? You're like pretty fat right now. And I was like, okay. Depression. What can I say, girls? Okay, it hit pretty good. Self-harming. What are you going to do? Okay. The point is that for different eras of my life, I experienced different variations of how things could show up. And all I'm trying to say is, it's interesting how people judge us from the outside without knowing what's really happening, because they can only perceive it through their bubble's lens. Okay? And that's what I'm just saying with Clara is, maybe you're right about why she's doing what she's doing, but I think what's more important is, why are you doing what you're doing? So I know I comment on people for a living, which is why I tried to say, here's where I'm coming from. Here's why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? Because again, it goes back to this podcast I just put out. I want to be able to come to a conclusion about your behavior without condemning you, but also making it clear I may not like your behavior, or it may not be my business. Because again, like, I don't want to get to the point where everyone's like, we shouldn't comment on people, to the point where we let predators get away with stuff. But since this isn't about being a predator and this is about a boob job, I especially feel like it's none of our business. Okay? Okay, back to the video.
That's a beautiful belief to have. But at the same time, it doesn't mean the people that have work done, that have treatments, hate themselves. It doesn't mean that they hate themselves, like, at all.
Wait, pause. Chad says hot Cheetos and condensed milk. That's a new mix for me. No. The condensed milk went in my coffee. The hot Cheetos were the snack. But you know what is really good to dip hot Cheetos into? Tapatio. Take a bowl of Tapatio, dip your hot Cheetos in there, yummy. Or some soy sauce with some wasabi and some hot sauce. Dip but no, Cheetos and condensed milk, I didn't mean together. I meant separate. The condensed milk went into my coffee and it was fucking good, okay? It was fucking good. Oh, and hold on, Discord, I just saw this message. Actually, I have a question. What would your opinion be on someone like bleaching their skin? It's a fairly common choice in some bubbles. What's the difference between that and other cosmetic choices? Not asking as a gotcha, genuinely curious. Of course. Lightening or tanning your skin. Why? It's all about the why. Okay? I've been wearing a lot of sunscreen lately, and I've been trying to avoid tanning my skin, and it's summer here in Croatia, and the tans are crazy. Okay, we went to the government office yesterday and we saw the same workers there that are always there. And you can tell they've been out on the beach because they are dark. And I'm like, girl, skin cancer. But they don't care about that here. They're like out there. They're like roasting in the sun, cooking alive, like a pig roast, okay? No judgment. Listen, I have been wearing sunscreen because one, it's the most skin damaging thing to our faces, and two, skin cancer. And I think why matters. So if you're darkening your skin for an unhealthy reason, we got to talk about it. If you're lightening your skin for an unhealthy reason, we got to talk about it. So again, I don't want people who are like, I just think it depends on why. You know, I caution people from hating their skin. I think hating your skin is never the answer, right? Like, hating your skin is never the answer, whether it's too light or too dark. And I would ask you to deconstruct why you would hate your skin. Because, like, it certainly wasn't a choice, it's an experience. Now, if you say I hate my skin because the experience I get with my skin is painful, I think that's so valid. Let's talk about that hurt and pain of the way we see ourselves versus the way the world interacts with us because of how we exist. I don't ever want to encourage you to hate your body or yourself simply because of other people's opinions. I want you to hate your body because of other reasons. No, seriously though, I don't want you to hate your body, but you're allowed to be frustrated with it. You're allowed to be, you know, annoyed that you're in pain, or annoyed that you're disabled, or annoyed that you're struggling. But I really don't want you to hate your skin color because of the world, you know? Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the idea that, oh, lighter skin is prettier than darker skin. Like, that just sounds like racism in me. That's it. But I also can see a perspective of lightening your skin or darkening your skin if you think you genuinely look more like the version of yourself in your head. So I would caution you to make sure that you're really doing it to mirror how you feel about yourself versus how the world feels about you. And that's going to take a lot of meditation. So just make sure.
There's different way to show love for yourself, okay? There's multiple ways you can show love for yourself. You can show love for yourself by accepting yourself fully, everything about yourself, and don't want to change. That's all good. That's one type of self-love. There's also another type of self-love that you're like, I love myself top to bottom, you know, inside and out. I love myself. But there's also things that I want to try to change for fun, for experimentation, for growth. And that's also a valid type of self-love, okay? Now I fully accept that and embrace that I'm in this camp. I was in this camp before I was turned 25 and I love
She was in one bubble, now she's in another bubble. Bubble hopping.
that life. I love myself, how I look at the time. I love my energy at the time. There's nothing wrong, but it doesn't mean that if there's nothing wrong, then I can't change, you know? I think I'm just like over-explaining at this point, but for me, it just comes down to that. It just comes down to the fact that growth comes in different ways, self-love comes in different types, and I'm in this camp right now. I don't know, maybe in 5 years, I may be in another camp. I would have no idea that I would have a boob job at 26, okay? I have no idea where life would take me, what I would believe in when I'm a little bit older. Like, we constantly changing and evolving. And that's such a beautiful thing. Come back to the controversy about the video that I made, right? And a lot of people take it very badly, and I understand that. And honestly, the reason why I made that video, I was talking about it before, but I already know that it has the potential to really my reputation. It has the potential to really make me lose following. Honestly, at that time, I haven't come to terms with the fact that I want to break out of the body positivity community. I think since the second half of 2024,
The emotional labor to do body positivity content all the time must be insane. Because you just know the emotional labor is crazy in those comments. You know what I mean? I think it's like, that's really hard. You know what I mean? Hold on, Chad says, so it's acceptable to hate your tiny boobs and change it, but it isn't societally acceptable to change your skin color. You can't just decide today I want to be black after living as a white person. Well, I would say it's not even acceptable to hate your tiny boobs. I don't think it's acceptable to hate yourself in a healthy sense. I don't think you're a bad person. I think you're unhealthy. I do not hate any part of my body. I hate the pain I experience from my illness. I hate the executive dysfunction because I'm autistic. I don't hate me, and I don't hate my brain, and I don't hate the consciousness that is Brittany. I sometimes wish my body looked different, but I also like the way I look, that I want it to also look this way as well, just not all the time. So hate is where we want to deconstruct that word. I never want you to hate yourself. I don't want you to hate your voice or hate your look or hate anything about you. You know, because that hate's not going to, like, it's not going to help anything. So that's the only thing I would say is, like, the language we use is so important.
I already felt tired of the body positivity content that I made. Like, girl, I want change, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. We already went over that, okay? I felt tired doesn't mean that I don't like it, okay? I just felt a little bit tired and I wanted to change. Since later half of 2024. At that time, I already started feeling like I wanted to change. I wanted a content shift, but I haven't come to terms with that because the thing is, you know why? I've been making the same type of content for years, but the thing is, it keeps me so successful, okay? It brings in so much money. The views are crazy. People love it. I love all of my videos, okay? But just a part of me is like, I want to have fun. Like, I want to do other things. Okay, the thing is, I know logically you can say that, Claire, you can literally do other stuff and like you don't have to like do a boob job and you don't have to releasing that video and we would still love you. We would still support your other content. But the kind of person I am is, and I think that maybe you.
And just a reminder that people go crazy over people cutting their hair. Like, people are like, oh my God, you ruined your hair. You ruined everything. It's hair. Relax. Okay, people literally are like, I can't believe so-and-so cut their hair. What the fuck? And I'm like, relax.
Could relate to this because if I know that if I still have my flat chest, the type of content that I do, like the flat chested content, would still be the best performing content on my channel. You know why? I don't know why, but it's just the way it is. Like, people just know about me because of my flat chest. And over time, I feel like I was boxed. I was boxed into that identity. I tried to do other things. I tried to do other type of content, but like as soon as I do another flat chest video, it's the best video ever. It's the best, most viral video. So I feel this like pull, right? To be like, okay,
because the irony is just like the beauty community, because insecurity does well on the internet. Anger, insecurity, self-improvement, money, job insecurity, aesthetics. Yeah, like people, the same reason beauty communities like exploit your vulnerabilities, because they know that you spend all of your time worrying about being insecure and you're looking for ways to spend your money to be less insecure. Which is why the reason philosophy bubbles and meditation bubbles that are focused on money are suspicious to me is because you shouldn't have to spend money to be introspective. You might need to use money to utilize that tool of introspection. I was at that health food store yesterday getting my henna and getting some vegan meals. And they had Tao Te Ching there. And my partner was like, Brittany. And I was like, I was like so excited. I was like, oh my God, Tao Te Ching at a health food store. But then they also had Joe Dispenza, whatever his name is. I hate him. But like they also had the self-help bubble, which was like pretty funny. So they had Tao Te Ching, and then they had literally like chiropractors pretending to be doctors. And I was like gagged. I was like, oh my God. So the point is that self-help is exploitative, the bubble, because it requires you to be insecure to keep buying the books and products and supplements. But people who really want to see you heal and get better also expect you not to be a returning customer after a while. And so even a good therapist will one day expect you not to come back. I remember when my friend's therapist broke up with her and she was like, oh my God, my therapist says we're done with therapy. I was like, congratulations. That's a good therapist. A good therapist tells you like, I think you're good, girl. I think you're ready to stop seeing me. A bad therapist will create new reasons for you to keep showing up. They're like, it's okay to revisit your therapist throughout the years, but realistically, like eventually you're good. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're good. Some things come to an end, or at least the consistency does. Okay. And that's the point. That's the point. And I think that's a personal journey everyone needs to go on to decide like, okay, I think I'm done paying this coach or being with this mentor or doing this thing. But a person who expects you to be with them forever, that's just a business. That's capitalism, baby. That's them wanting you to be reliant on their product for years to come, you know? But yeah, like this is just that's why the industry is so hard. It's why I personally take a lot of balance as a creative of making sure I'm setting the tone for my audience, because I too can get trapped in like the political drama stuff makes a lot of money. It doesn't make as much money as other content, but it makes actually a lot of money. And I try really hard not to focus on it every time. That's why we're doing this stuff today, because there was a lot of stuff in political drama land I could have covered. And we did our little Anna Kasparian story. But the truth is like, there is money in that. There is money in covering. If I could cover, I could literally make a whole career just covering political drama. But it would eat at me. It would personally eat at me as a creative. And I think it would make my audience really toxic. Like, think about who would be attracted to that content. Like, I watch the content, but it's like one portion of the pie that I watch. Like, political drama is like one slice of the pizza of everything else I watch. Now, imagine it's all you watch, and imagine it's all you create. You just know those people got bad skin, you know, because it's stressful.
I try to make other types of content, but it seems like people still want my flat chest content the most. I'm still that flat chested girl, okay? I've been doing this for 5 years.
Remember when I grew out of doing BDSM content and people are like, oh my God, why don't you do sex education anymore? Because like, I don't want to keep answering like where the clitoris is or like how to find a dom. But the people who make that their niche, that's great. You know what I could answer though 100 times over is, do we have free will? Great question. Let's talk about it. I chose a niche that I could keep answering those same 10 questions time and time again without getting burnt out. But I was getting burnt out on how do you find a dom like questions. I was just getting so burnt out on answering that question. I just like didn't want to answer it anymore. And to be fair, I was demonetized when I did BDSM content. But you know what I mean? Like I was getting burnt out. So I understand as a content creator, like, okay, I'm burnt out answering this question, you know? Jess said, where can I find a clitoris dom? Just kidding. A clitoris dom, you just know that's a thing. You just know that's a thing. But you know what I mean? I do love the philosophy stuff enough that I'm not getting burnt down on it. And I just never think, I don't know if I will, like who knows who I'll be in 10 years. Oh, and that's the other thing. I like that she said that she's going to look back on this video in 5 years and say like, oh my God, you didn't even know what was heading your way. I try to be prepared for future Brittany. Maybe in 10 years, I'm like a published author doing a tour. Maybe in 10 years, I have a different craft I'm showing up with. Maybe it's still philosophy, but it's in a different context. Maybe, who knows? I just know the work I'm doing now is to set it up so that Brittany can make any decision that makes sense for her. You know, right? Just as was the transition to this content from BDSM stuff hard? Well, I went from BDSM to politics to lifestyle, to to BDSM to getting off the internet and taking a break to coming back. So I had a break where I thought I was going to leave YouTube forever, and I was trying to get normie jobs, and then I realized like I'm a creative through and through. Like I'm a content creator through and through. It's what I can come back to. It's what I can do 10 hours a day. It's like the one job I would do for free, because I do a lot of it for free. Like that's the irony of content creation, is like you work a lot of hours in hopes to make money. And then it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely one of those jobs I can do and I can figure out how to make money doing it. But I think having the break helped. I think I was concerned in some ways, but I think the one thing I do know about myself is I can always find an audience. And I believe that for all creatives, if you're a creative on the internet, you will find an audience, but you will be a reflection of that audience. So make sure you know what that means. And I think that's why I was kind of exhausted at the trauma dumping audience, because I realized I had been trauma dumping. Like I realized I was making content that attracted unhealed people because I was unhealed. So I think taking a break and getting healed and really meditating and finding myself allowed me to come back to the internet. And this is by far the healthiest, most introspective, and most thoughtful audience I have ever had. And I do think that's because of who I am as a person, generally speaking, because I do think when you have toxic like fan bubbles, like there's always someone toxic in your audience. But I think if a majority of your audience is toxic, like these debate bros, it's a reflection of the content creator. But I think if it's just a part of your audience, that happens. But when I see a content creator, especially a boy on the internet, send their audience after people, I think that is a reflection of them. You know, I think it is. When you weaponize your audience against people, I think that's exactly who you are. Yeah. So I will say this is the best audience I've ever had. And I think it's because it's the best version of me that's ever existed. And I think my audience is going to continue being amazing because we're going to grow. Wait until we're in our 40s and 50s and 60s, girls, because I'm going to be here forever. And who knows who will be following me then? Who knows what the internet will look like then? Who knows what the world will look like then? You know? All right, back to the video.
6 years, like, but people still love it. Like, you know, like that's stuck. I was stuck in the position of like, everything in my life is so good, okay? I could literally keep making the same type of content and make really good amount of money, have everything I ever want. But real growth, I don't see it, you know? But I know I could keep doing that. I have a great life, okay? But that's like the comfort zone. I felt so comfortable in that first half of since 2024 till like early 2025. For a long time, I knew that I was just staying in my comfort zone. If I don't do something like, you know, I don't know what this is, but like just something like really to like push me out of my comfort zone. Since I had my job, I felt like, oh, okay, now I can't rely on my flash ads anymore. I can feel totally.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, I talked to my brother yesterday and he said something so good in a way that I was like, okay, King, have you been reading? Like, he's like, listen, one thing I've learned about myself is that if you stay comfortable, you won't grow, but that doesn't mean you have to change your whole life in order to grow, because then you're just messy. He's like, you need to just on occasion do something different so you can learn about yourself in that context. And I was telling him exactly, it's like when people dream about like van life or that Miyazaki aesthetic of like doing your laundry freehand. It's like, yeah, you think you want that as your full-time life until you do it full-time, and then you're going to want to go back to the other life. Just change your life up. Challenge yourself, but you don't have to change your whole life. You don't have to be like, oh, I just want to have that Miyazaki life where I'm, you know, growing my own vegetables full time. And that's the answer. Because once you have that, you're going to wish you had a grocery store nearby. Like for some people, that is their calling. And on occasion, they'll go to the big city for vacation. But you could also be a big city person who on occasion goes out to the mountains. Like do something to add a radical change, do drugs, have an orgy, go meditate in the mountains, but that can't be your life forever. You know, do ayahuasca, but you can't do ayahuasca every day, 24/7. Like it can't actually be your life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to decide what's going to be your life. But if you keep thinking, oh, if I only had this, the grass is always greener. If it can only be this, like that's not going to bring your joy. That's not going to be joyful. You're not going to be joyful. You're not going to grow. You're going to plateau, and most people do. And then you might, I don't know, your life's going to be whatever it is. You know what I mean? But if you want to challenge yourself and you want to grow, then do that. But, you know, it's like the hedonists who think if I'm always just, you know, in a hedonistic lifestyle, I'll be happy. The stagnation and hedonism is so apparent. It's like nihilists, like there's so much stagnation there. And you stagnate because you think you found it. You have an identity and a label that you think, oh, this label's it. That's why I say I'm feminist philosophically, but not politically, because political feminism has its limitations. If you're a TERF, as an example, there's no allowance for growth there. How do you think TERFs grow if the requirement of being a TERF is that you're anti-trans? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not interested in a construct that forces me to live by a certain standard that never engages in growth. I need to be able to pop this political construct. This is why I say you're not politics. Politics is a thing you choose to engage with because of the constructs, but you are not political, right? Like, you are philosophical. You are the meaning of life. You are existence itself. And existence itself is not political. It just engages in political structures. All right, going back to the video.
Be free to explore other types of content, and like, this is my new life. And I think that secretly I wanted that big change. And so in late 2024, when I posted that controversial video about the skinny habit, that's, I feel like, a way of my subconscious mind try to like poke me out of the body positivity, because my mind know full well that I will be cancelled releasing that video full well. I know that like people will like throw the table at me, okay? But I still did it because my subconscious mind, everything you do is driven by your subconscious mind and like what you truly want inside. And at the time, I haven't come to terms with the fact that I want to change my niche, okay? But I'm just like, I don't know why, I just want to like stir things up. I don't know, like I know this video is probably gonna end my career, but you know what? Like secretly, like I don't want to do body positivity anymore. So that's why I created that video. That's why I released that video. And it's not even like I say anything like outrageously wrong in that video, you know what? I was just speaking about my own eating habit, but I do understand if it like rub people the wrong way. I completely understand that. And like, I'm sorry if you take it the wrong way, if that just hurt you in some way. And like, I'm aware. So I don't know if I have to like explain everything I said in that video, but I just want you to understand a little bit of like the back end of things and where I was at and what like makes me have the boob job. It's not the only reason, like I said, but a big part of it is like, I just want a transition. I just want to step into a new era, step into a new version of me, because I want to have fun. And it's just simple as that. Now, I feel like it's been a long video and I don't know if I made myself clear in this video. Honestly, I just want this video to be chat with you. And honestly, I don't expect you to understand. Everyone is, you know, on their own little self-growth journey. And right now, this is where I am. And I am just so grateful that there are...
I think that's really important. Right now, this is where I am. Right? Right now, this is where I am. Right now, this is where I am. I think that's really important. Right now, this is where I am as a Brittany. But it's just where I am right now.
Still some of you who support me and still love me throughout the years, throughout all the changes I go through. Honestly, I just want to say that I'm still the same person inside, you know, like my essence is still the same. Like my essence has always been about confidence and self-love. And
Discord says there are some people speculating that her ex-boyfriend pressured her into a boob job, which is crazy. Listen, if she got pressured into a boob job and got it done, that is also just a part of the journey. Sometimes we're pressured into things and we realize like, oh, this isn't even what I wanted. But you can pressure someone into not getting plastic surgery. That's all I'm trying to make a point with that people aren't getting. The same way you can pressure people into getting plastic surgery, you can pressure them into not getting it. It's bad either way. And I'm saying, stop pressuring people. Let her get it, let her not get it. But it's not, you're not a better person because you're pressuring people not to get surgery. Right? That's bullshit. I don't want to have to make a decision on my body based off of what my audience thinks. Not really. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying. Stop pressuring this lady. Just let her make her fucking decisions.
being a and do what you love. Do
and
what you...
I do think being influenced is different than being pressured. I think sometimes influence can turn into pressure, but I think sometimes like influence can also just be inspiring. You know?
Love. It has always been me. And so I just want you to, you know, also have the courage. And
yes, Chet says the surgery is treated like a moral failing, which is problematic. Exactly. The surgery itself is not a moral failing.
The bravery to do whatever you love.
By the way, I think it's so interesting that we judge like everything is a moral failing, But that's what fat phobia is as an example. I used to treat fatness as a moral failing. That was wrong. I was wrong. I was raised in that bubble, okay? It was wrong. The way I was raised to think of obesity or fatness as a moral failing is wrong. That's the point. Eugenia Cooney being judged about her being anorexic as a moral failing is wrong. You're not morally failing because of the relationship you have with your body, but you could be living outside of your values with the way that you treat yourself and it's manifesting physically, but that's like not my business. That's between you and your therapist. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's interesting that Jeffree Star gets to be skinny as a fucking alien, but Eugenia Cooney can't because you guys have decided she's like doing it for attention and then you give her the attention. And then you still think you're a good person. Leave this woman alone. Because even if she's obviously sick, you know what I'm saying? It's not our business. You know? I just think there's such a fake concern. The fake concern is just like so annoying to me. Okay? Like the fake concern is just so annoying to me. And that's all it is. I'm just sick of your fake concern.
And change if you feel like. I feel like there's nothing bad about changing and owning it. And so I am owning this part of my life. I'm owning all the changes I made to myself. And I know that with this change, the community will change because of the type of content I was making before. I probably have a lot of young viewers. And like I said, I don't expect you to understand, but I would be very grateful if you understand and you see it as just normal part of life. You know, I'm not betraying what I stood for before. And I'm just entering a new chapter. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope so. I love you so much. The video about my boob job be coming out very soon. I can't wait to tell you all about this because this was a lot. Some aspect did not go as I expected, but it's okay. I want to like tell you more about this. So it will come out soon. And I know I always say this, but I want to film more long form talking video because I feel like I have like so much like ideas in my head and I just want to like say it and like, I don't know, I'm just rambling now, but bye. Love you.
Bye. Well, let's look at the comments. The more you feel insecure, the more you show that you don't. The more you feel insecure, the more you show that you don't. What? I don't think she would have gotten this much hate if she admitted she was just insecure. Yeah, that's the problem. Because people refuse to engage in the idea that you can be secure and still change yourself. That's the problem. People can't get it. They don't know what it's like. Because they themselves would never want to change if they thought they were secure because they've never been secure. But once you're secure, you will still want to change. The more secure I get, I am so secure attached, secure everything. I still want to grow. I still want to change. Like that's the problem. They can't fathom that she would want a boob job unless she was insecure. But I think that's what I'm saying. It just hurts when the girl you looked up to when you were at your lowest times is changing everything she taught you to love. That's because you're projecting onto her the why. Right? Chet says the problem with Eugenia Cooney is not her weight. It's how she addressed her weight throughout the years. She has no reason to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't justify the way people go for her. Because I don't watch Eugenia Cooney like this, but like, I feel like she was pressured into commenting about her weight. I feel like Eugenia Cooney made a point to not comment about her weight. And that's why I'm annoyed with everybody for talking about it. It's like, what are you doing? But people are like, she's going to die. This girl looks frail. Oh my God. She's promoting EDs. Like, it's just annoying. Like, it's annoying that people expect people to talk about their bodies. You know? Woo! Okay. So all I'm trying to say is, like, I don't understand. Yeah, and Shane Dawson did her no favors. Shane Dawson really never did anybody any favors. Now, Discourse says, what do you think the difference between people having opinions on this and Sabrina Carpenter Discourse? Is it the scale of the creator? Because the chatter earlier was bringing up context, and that's the same thing people said to critique Sabrina. See, I wonder what the difference is to you. Well, for me, Sabrina Carpenter is a brand and isn't a person. Like, are you talking about her album cover? Because her album cover is not, it's a brand. It's not Sabrina Carpenter, which is why my commentary about Sabrina was not about her as a person, because she doesn't exist. Sabrina is a brand first and foremost. YouTubers are supposed to be people before brands. But that's the difference, is like Sabrina was never a person. She doesn't get to be a person. You were never a person. You're only a person in interviews. You're only a person at home. You're only a person separate from the brand, but the album cover is brand related. An album cover is about selling albums. It's like, did you guys see the Lorde controversy? Lorde put out a record, and if you get the record of Lorde, there's a shot of her in see-through pants with a little bit of pubes and like her, kind of the outline of like her lips or whatever. And people were like, oh my God, it's a brand. It's just the branding. It's just art. Everyone's like, I didn't expect to see Lorde's pussy. It wasn't even a pussy. It was just the front. But like at the end of the day, like, okay. And people were like, oh my God, she has like a full bush. Okay, it was not a full bush, but also it was just some pubic hair. But also it's just art. Like, it was fine. It was just art. It was just like a photography. Like, everyone's panicking about it. Like, it was fine. Like, it was just like literally, it was cute, but like, it was just art. It's like, y'all never been to a gallery before? Y'all never seen some nude art? It wasn't even nude. She was wearing kind of pants. I don't know. To me, it wasn't even anything. It was nothing. I don't know. I think that people just have they're all coming from different bubbles with different perspectives, and every perspective can be a thing, but it's hard to see Sabrina as a person in relation to her work, but I see Sabrina as a person separate from her work. But with Clara, it just feels like YouTubers are YouTubers first and then they're brands. And so it's hard. And I think that's why people take it a little harder. It's because like, as a brand is different, but then it just depends on the context we're viewing it. Like, you know, when Jamie Lee Curtis came out pro-Israel and like all these celebrities came out pro-Israel, that's not their brand, that's them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, their brand isn't pro-Israel, they're pro-Israel. Boo. Free Palestine. You know what I'm saying? So when we're criticizing like those celebrities, we're criticizing them and their views because they're saying, this is my view. And I'm saying, oh, criticize. That's not their brand. That's their opinion. So that feels different. Now, Clara, people would say, had a brand, right? She said, people were saying, but her whole brand was, she had a flat chest. Well, yeah, because her brand was an extension of her experience as a YouTuber. That's what we do. Our brands are often extensions of our lived experience because we're sharing about our life. So it's the brand. But Sabrina feels very removed from her brand, even though it could be a reflection of her brand. Like Lady Gaga was her brand, but her brand was an art piece. Like, your art is a reflection of you, but it's not necessarily the same thing as you vlogging your life. And those things feel very nuanced and different to me. Gaga isn't vlogging her life 24/7. We're not getting, you know what I'm saying? It feels different. Even if she did vlog for a day, it's not the same thing. YouTubers feel like non-celebrities, which feels different. You know, all of it feels very different to me. Yeah, any last minute thoughts on this? Any ideas about this? You know, chat says, to be honest, I see YouTube content creators as brand first, not Brittany necessarily, but I spend a lot of time in chat for others. I think some YouTubers are. I think I'd be more popular and famous if I was brand first. But I also think brand first content creators are less interesting to me. Most of the content creators I watch are not brand first. Like, I don't actually think Hassan is brand first. I don't think Ethan is brand first. I think they're people first. I think Ethan Klein is definitely not brand first. He tries to be, but he's so bad at it. That's why he actually molds on stream. If he was brand first, he would never pick this fight with Hassan. Hassan and all these content creators are people first. Do you know what I mean? They have brands, but if you were actually running a company and had a brand, you could not be getting into fights with people like this. Like, you can't actually, like, you are not putting your brand first, you know? And that's the thing, is like, they are risking their brand by doing these things. Like, Clara is risking her brand by getting a boob job, like she said, which is great. Talk about taking her power back and saying like, nah, I'm not going to do this. You know, Kyle Kulinski is fan-funded news. He is person first, brand second, as an example, right? Like, he's not brand first. You know who's a brand first? TYT, for taking their funding from other sources, not just fan funding. Oh, brand first. You're focused on the brand. You're focused on the, I get it, capitalism. So people are brand, like, selling out your values for the brand, versus, I think that's why brands feel like traps to me, because even though you do better as a brand, you also have to sell out for the brand. Yeah, Mr. Beast is definitely a brand first. Mr. Beast is the kind of brand that pretends he's a person. He might have been a person when he started, but Mr. Beast, I'll see videos of him being like, hey guys, I heard there was a death in the gamer community and I just want to talk about it. You're not in the YouTube community. You are a brand. You're almost a billionaire. You're not a YouTuber. You're a billionaire. Do you know what I'm saying? You're a billionaire. You're not a YouTuber. And that's why, I'm just Phil DeFranco. You know what I love about Phil? Phil is a brand first now. He used to be a YouTuber first. Now he's a brand first. But do you know at what point of his show he gets to be a YouTuber? Is when he says, hey guys, that was the news, but now here's my opinion. When Phil gives his opinion, that's the YouTuber. When Phil is talking about the news, that's the brand. And I like both Phil. I like brand Phil and I like news Phil. Remember when the YouTube community was mad at Phil for creating a brand merch line to fund his news station? That's the brand. And people didn't like it because it broke the spirit of YouTube. But Phil said, I'm going to be a business. I have employees to support. That's fine. But the best part about Phil is when he goes into that opinion section and we get the YouTuber Phil now, which is different. A brand is like, what's his name? Ferrari with the bleached hair. That's a brand. When he says, I can never not have bleached hair or people won't know what I look like, Guy Ferrari, whatever his name is, that is so true. I would never recognize that man without his hair because the hair is the brand. The hair is the brand. And he says it. There are so many people who fake having country. Are you guys watching the country controversies right now? How they're English, like there's an English singer, I don't know who it is, who's faking a country accent to do country music. Because that's the new thing. Have you noticed all the conservative rap artists are becoming country singers? Have you noticed all the centricity men are becoming country singers all of a sudden? Because it works for the brand, for the conservatives. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It is so funny. I'm dead. I'm literally like fucking dead. Okay, yes, Larry the Cable Guy. Larry the Cable Guy is one of my favorite examples. 100% exactly the same story. So again, I don't fake an accent to come on stream. This is just how I fucking annoyingly talk. I don't really have a brand. And that's also why people don't consistently know me. By the way, Phil's new brand change on his thumbnails are actually driving me crazy. This new thumbnail change, I actually hate it. But that's because I hate anything new. But at least Phil's in the middle, so I know it's him. Fun fact, Philip DeFranco said when he used to change his thumbnails to not have his face, people hated it more and they didn't click on it as much. But he put his face in the thumbnail and people liked it better because Phil is the brand. Okay, but I'm happy for his change. He's testing it out. He's like, do we like it? I hate it. I hate the two arrows in the sides. But you know what? I get it. I change that. You ever notice I change my thumbnails all the time? I don't know what my brand should be. What should be the thing people recognize? And I don't want your opinions. Thank you. I already make money. I'm already doing this full time. But the point is as a content creator, I'm always adapting to change. What is the thing that's going to make people go, oh, that's a Britney thumbnail. Oh, that's a Britney video. So all I'm saying is like, that's the brand part. But the part that isn't the brand is the part that comes on stream and openly says, hey guys, I'm working on being less American mean. But just for the record, I'm a human, so it's going to take time. If I was a brand, I'd just come on stream and be like, hi everyone. Welcome to today's video. Today, with kindness and compassion, we're going to review Clara. She's a very lovely girl. And of course, we don't want to move into our misogyny in this conversation. So let's make sure we are calm and collected when reviewing her. She really has been on a journey. And I just want you to know Like, we're going to take this with kindness and compassion. Oh my gosh, hold on, guys. My husband's calling me. Let me mute my stream to talk to him. Just a second. What do you want? Oh my God, bitch. This stream is crazy. Doing this voice is crazy. Anyways, I'll be right back. Okay, love you, baby. Hold on. Anyways, guys, welcome back. My husband did need me. He was actually just pissing me off and annoying me. Just kidding. The point is that the voice would be fake, okay? I actually am just loud. It's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to mute. Exactly. Oh my gosh, guys, did I forget to mute my stream? I'm so sorry. The brand is showing up in a way that people expect you to every time, even when you didn't feel it, even if you didn't want to, even if it's not authentic. That's the brand. Branding is showing up as a specific expectation for the audience, even when you don't want to. That's brand. I'm not very good at branding. I kind of just show up. You know what I mean? And yet here I am doing it full time, baby. Let's go. So it kind of is proof you don't need to have a brand to do it full time. It would just help because then the audience would know what they were getting. The biggest complaint I've ever gotten about my work is like, I just don't know what you're doing on the internet. When we click on your videos, what should we expect? And I'm like, I get you. I hear you. You know? Like I hear you. But I think you should expect philosophy. But see, the people don't know what that means because they're like, oh, cool. You're going to like tell us who Diogenes is. And I was like, no. They're like, oh, you're going to review Socrates. I'm like, no. And they're like, so you don't do philosophy because philosophy in the branded bubbles looks like unsolicited advice, which we love, or Alex O'Connor. It looks specific to people so they know what they're getting. But see, I would burnt out. I would be sober. Oh my God. The way I would burn out if I only came and did philosophy here. Do you know? Fun fact, Chad says applied philosophy. Applied philosophy is actually a bubble of philosophy. So applied philosophy would not be correct. Philosophy you apply to your life would be more accurate because applied philosophy is a form of philosophy already. So if I started saying applied philosophy, which I misspoke in one of my streams or something, and I had a feeling, I was like, oh wait, I think that is a form of philosophy. And I Googled it to make sure it is actually a form of philosophy. So I don't want to come over here and say I'm doing applied philosophy because, oh my gosh, oops, different bubble. So philosophy you can apply to your life is a longer, but I think it's more accurate, right? Anyways, chat says, Discord says, you just know it would be a whole controversy. Brittany Simon fakes accent for views. Literally. Now I do think there are ways to like improve your presence online, but you know what? Not a fan of Dave Ramsey, don't like Dave Ramsey, but one of the funniest story that Dave Ramsey ever shared was that he had to go to a speech coach to help water down his accent a little bit because people on TV kept thinking he was stupid because he had a country accent. Because America is judgmental of people with country accents. What's the image of a conservative that often gets displayed on the internet? You know, is that country accent. So even Dave Ramsey, even though the Southern twist was complimentary to the brand and made him feel accessible, too much of the accent also made people doubt he was smart with money. So he had to go to a speech coach to help with like water down his accent. Again, right? It's great. Yeah, philosophy through pop culture. Actually, I've really got to start doing a solid intro in between on my TV reviews because I think people don't know why I'm doing it. I need to say philosophy through pop culture. I usually just come on the video and I say like, welcome back, episode 2, part 2. But like, I got to stop doing that. I'm going to start doing intros. Just like a little intro, like philosophy through pop culture, so people know. But see, that's the brand part that I have to remember to do when I'm recording. This is why being a brand is hard. I have to remember to say it every time the same way, so people hear it every day the same way. And that way, people, if they click on the video and they're not used to me, the moment they click on my video, they hear what it is. I will get used to it. I will do it. Real-time branding, guys. See how I'm sharing it with you too? Some people would say, don't share it with your audience. Just do it. Just do it. You know? Chet says you could pre-record it. People don't like you wearing previous clothes. Fun fact, when people do ad readings, ads do better if you're wearing the same clothes as the video you're doing an ad for. And ads where you're wearing old clothes feel too much like an ad, so people hate it. So some ad companies make you redo the ad with new clothes every time, and some ad companies don't. But apparently better ads perform better if you're wearing the same clothes as the video of that day. Does that make sense? Anyways, I love this. Oh my God, I love this topic. See, I don't make content on this topic, but I love this topic so much. Anyways, with that said, that's all I had for you guys today.